willing and able, if you would, stand and join us, and John, lead us in prayer.
Our Heavenly Father, as we come before you this evening, Lord, to give praise into your holy name and to thank you for another day upon this beautiful world that thy hands have created. Lord, we thank you for all things because we know all good things, Lord, come from you. Lord, we ask that you bless this meeting here tonight, this evening, or that we not work with the peace and harmony that shows your love, Heavenly Father, that we should have for each other. And Lord, we ask that you put a hedge over our workers that we have, Lord, and protect them. And guide us forward that we might do the best we can for our community. We ask all this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and our Savior. And amen.
Amen. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to call the Martin County Water Board to order. Board members, you received your packets. The first order of business is to review consideration to approve minutes. Is there any discussions or comments on the minutes?
So,
Accept them as presented.
second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Review consideration of financial reports. Review consideration approved treasurer's report.
Okay. 4A1 is your bank rec reports. Anybody have any questions on them before we move on? Okay. 4A3, current assets, total cash on hand of $255,946.58. Total current assets of $715,182.59. Net property, plant, and equipment of $18,490,523.01. Total restricted cash of $1,519,816.77. Brings the total assets to $20,725,522.37. 4A4, total current liabilities of $846,066.50. Total long-term debt of $4,089,975. Bring your total liabilities to $4,936,041.50. Total liabilities and district equity to $20,725,522.37. 4A5, so your monthly revenues, that number does include the deposits that was made from the insurance and some of the FEMA money, so that number is high. We had $148,493 deposited from insurance and FEMA. So if you back that amount off, the monthly revenue is $291,000, which is $14,000 more than what was budgeted.
Hey Todd, that number also includes KIA for a project as well, don't it? The INS plant?
Yes.
No, wait a minute, that'd be under sanitation, I'm sorry.
Yeah, on the sewer side.
Yeah.
Total operating expense for the month of $299,859, which is $54,000 more than what was budgeted to be spent for the month. But a big portion of that is the legal expenses. You see, it's $31,149, and repair and maintenance was up about $13,000, and that is because some of the S4 invoices was paid for the filter rehab project. 4A6, we billed 3,313 customers for a total of 13,604,630 gallons for a total of $268,169.64. End of the month receivables of $367,004.15. Then after all disbursements, end of the month balance of $128,613.52, and then all with a remaining available balance of $15,759.49. 4A7, again, total cash investments, beginning balance of $1,812,012.91, deposits of $1,110,057.73. After all fees and payments, leaves an ending balance of $1,775,453.35, and that does include all your funds available in your generator project.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Awesome.
All in favor? Review and consideration to approve other financials?
Yeah, 4B1 shows the billing summary again for October of '25. You had $13,000 more in revenue than you did in October of '24. Your year-to-date total of about $45,000 more year-to-date than you did at this time last year. We have less customers, 27 customers. 4B2 shows the graph of your debt, and then it shows 4B3, which makes that total of 262, 268, and 34 cents, which does not include the payments that you will pay tonight, which is about 180 of that. No, I'm sorry, 90 of that. There's just one to be signed. One to be signed tonight.
Yeah. So we're in essence, water is in the hole about, right now, about $180,000. Okay. Which, when you think about it, you know, right now, water has sustained approximately $800,000 in unbudgeted cost to the district since November of 2023. And had we not had those expenditures, we would be to the good, you know, $620,000 roughly. So we just need to make sure we understand what's driving the budget. Okay. So could you have a motion to approve other financials?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Review and consideration approved bills?
Yeah, you got your list of bills in there. Note there is several items in here that are gonna be charged back to the meter project, that you always sign checks for tonight. And Bell engineering fees for the 292 telemetry project, it will also be approved in these, which is gonna be paid for out of the project funds.
So that dark, across there and the little star means stuff that comes out of the meter project fund.
Correct.
And the 292 plumber, so that works now, everything's working?
On the 292,
No.
the system's not working, no.
No, because where that stands, and let me just kind of explain that a little bit, because it's a good segue for that. The contractor is not going to complete the job until they get paid. Now, something that happened in the paperwork process is the engineer of record, in this case Bell Engineering, and Big Sandy Ad approved change orders without an approved budget exceeds. And so right now, there's an overage of about, in total, Todd, $15,000 roughly. Of that $15,000 in overages, 3,000 of it is work that's been completed, and there's 12,000 that hasn't been completed. And so I went to Big Sandy Ad and said, well, how do you propose to pay for it? And they said, there's no money to pay for it. And in the meantime, the contractor's saying, we're not gonna finish the job until we get paid. And so I'm gonna ask this board tonight to approve a motion so that we can, the district will pay the overage so we can get the project finished. Because if not, the project's not gonna get finished, money will have been spent without an operable system, which is pretty stupid in my opinion. And also, I've asked Big Sandy Ad to evaluate their administration process because, and Bell Engineering for that matter, because a change order should never get approved by the engineer of record or the administrator without a budget.
Right.
I mean, that just makes sense.
So the $3,000 overage or 15,000, whatever, is that paid to Microcom or Bell Engineering, or is that, are those?
It's not Bell, it's Microcom, yeah. No, Bell Engineering's, they've got their budget and they're fine. It's the contractors doing the work is a problem.
Well, I feel a lot worse about paying it to them than
Yeah, well, I would come to the board and asking for a motion for something else, if that were the case, but, that's not the case. Okay, so with that, but remind me to get to that, cause I don't know if that's on, Todd, new business.
We can talk about it, I might see you with the CIP. 'Cause it-
Yeah, we can do it during that, or as long as we do it tonight, it's an open meeting, so as long as we take care of it. Okay, any other questions on the bills? So if not, can I have a motion to approve the bills, please?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, legal, Dustin?
The first item is update on truck purchase reconsideration response from PSC. This is a matter that, Brian is still handling, and he let me know that the PSC denied our request for reconsideration.
Yeah, so let me touch on this, a little bit. In the denial from PSC in the denial does not require us to give the trucks back. And in fact, they referred us to, 3 or 4 case numbers. And when we reviewed those case numbers, because as you can imagine, PSC is not in the business of giving legal advice. When you review those case numbers, 2 of those cases are applicable to our condition, and what those entities did, one paid their vehicles off less than the 2-year limit. When you go back and read the PSC statute, in essence, what it says in layman's terms is if you make an acquisition and you go in debt, but that indebtedness is less than 2 years, you don't have to go before PSC to get approval. Now the other entity that was the same situation, they refinanced their vehicles and they went to PSC and got the approval as part of before the refinance. And then they PSC approved the refinance, and they did that. What I'm gonna ask this board to do, and it's later on in the package, I'm gonna be asking the board to approve a motion for us to do nothing at this time, for the very reason that, as most of you have seen, debt service, our #1 project on water, is in the running to be awarded. So if that plays itself out in the manner for which I think it should, then it's a moot point. Cause we'll get that, Kentucky W Waters award, and we'll pay off all debt, which the trucks were included as part of. So it mitigates that whole discussion and argument. But that's further in our package, we'll do that, sorry Dustin, go ahead.
No, that's fine. The next item is the PSC motion to close order. I think we've got to a final form for that and an affidavit for Tim to sign, so it's for the board's consideration.
And later in our packet, board members, we'll have an open discussion and a motion on that. But I did get that out to all the board members, so you had an opportunity to read it and read those edits that I have requested Dustin to make. And Dustin, you've looked at those edits and you're
Yeah.
comfortable with them?
Yep, they look fine.
All right.
The next item is the easement for turkey tank project, and again, this is Brian. He says he met with Okie Mills Jr. a couple of weeks ago at his home. He was friendly, but had concerns about potential impact to his property and house. He asked him if he would be willing to meet with project engineers to discuss his concerns, and he said he would. Believe he let you know that and provided his phone number.
Yeah, so in conjunction with that, as all of you can appreciate, all of our projects, regardless of which one it is, they're under a period of performance timeline. In this particular project, Turkey Tank, if I remember right, that project POP expires December of 2026. But with that said, I've turned over Mr. Mills' contact information to Bell Engineering, who's the engineer of record for this project, to address his concerns specific to the temporary tank, any earthwork that need to be done to place that tank, and any disturbance to his property, and more importantly, how the property is returned to its original state. And so Bell Engineering will take that up with Mr. Mills, and I'm hopeful that that we can move forward with a construction easement, so that, because that right now that's holding up the project at this juncture. We still got some time to work it out, but we need to do that over the next 30 to 60 days to get that ironed out. Okay.
The next item is, property purchase for RWI, emergency generator. Again, this is a Brian, project. He says that he evaluated the location several weeks ago in person and talked with the property owners. He believes the PVA map is incorrect and the project will be on property of Mr. Frederick. He met with him and his wife, who were friendly and open to the ideal. They had questions as to the construction, that he couldn't answer, that Brian couldn't answer. Apparently it's on a hillside, so excavation might be required. Again, he relayed this information to Tim and suggested that the project engineer, give him a call or meet with him to discuss his concerns.
Yep. And so where that stands currently is, currently we're waiting on FEMA to extend the period of performance. As the board remembers, that POP expired the 27th of September of this year. We did file for an extension timely, and then the government shut down. So now that the government's back up, I expect an answer on that, along with an answer on the scope addendum, to where we can add a mobile generator to that scope of work as well. By moving the raw water intake generator across the road and onto that hillside is far cheaper than building a caissons and a steel platform and putting it on the riverside. And with that savings is how we will pay for the additional scope. So we'll still stay at or under budget. So once we get the POP extension, then that's when I'll engage Bell Engineering, who's the engineer of record for this particular project, to work with myself and the landowners to answer all their questions and get us in a position to where Brian can draft the paperwork for us to purchase that property.
The next item is, the Code Water Project Engineer of Record status. And I understand we've received from, Big Sandy Ag 3 submissions by Bo Cook Engineering, Nesbitt Engineering, and Prime AE. And so they're ready for the board to score.
Well, yes. Tonight, board, is in our packet, we will vote on having a special meeting to do that scoring and to have a motion on who that selection is, and then the board to approve me to craft the letter and sign it, send it back to Big Sandy Ag with the scoring sheets, along with the board's decision on who you want the engineer of record to be. But we'll get to that further in our packets, but that's how that's played out. So
But we saw Bocock, did we get the others?
we got Nesbitt, we got Bocock, and we got Prime AE. Those are the three SOQs that we received, that you should have received an email from me
I
on.
got Bocock, and I was wondering if I.
Bocook, yeah,
Bocook,
yeah.
had you gotten the others too?
I got same thing you got there, Nesbitt, Bo Cook, and
Prime AE.
Prime AE.
Okay.
Should have been, and there should have been a scoring sheet.
I guess I just only saw the Bocook.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I guess I only maybe just got down to the Bocook and didn't realize I
Well,
did.
Bo Cook had the most lengthy one.
Oh, they, yeah,
Theirs was the first attachment, and then it was next.
okay, so they are all,
And then there is a score sheet there as well as the
alright,
RFQ.
okay.
I can forward it to you sometime. Talk about it.
Yeah, so that's, thank you.
Okay. All right.
Okay, the next item is the auto ground project, where there's no agreement between the water district and AML or Big Sandy Ag. We had, at the last meeting, we reached a plan to discuss with AML language that they could put in an order to assure us, that we would be owners of infrastructure generated as a result of that project. I spoke with the EEC attorney about doing a draft letter before they signed that to make sure to address our concerns. He sent me something, I sent something back to him. I heard from him yesterday afternoon, Tim. He hopes to get us an answer tomorrow, is what he told me.
Good.
To approve it, so, hopefully we hear tomorrow.
So is the definition of by answer means they're gonna send the letter back, signed?
No, the answer is gonna be that we've agreed on the language for the letter. And once we agreed on the language for the letter and you're comfortable with it, then they sign it.
Okay, well, okay, so you'll email all the board and along with it, send everybody on the board that letter.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, and it's a draft letter at this point to make sure we're comfortable with it before we ask them to sign a final version of it.
Yeah, so at the special board meeting we'll have in December, that'll be on the agenda to address. Because I'll need the board's approval for me to sign that letter.
The next is the master service agreement legal review. We went through it, I think we got to a mostly final form. Tim suggested a couple other agreements to look at to make sure there's nothing else we wanted in there. I've not got to look at those yet. I'll look at those soon and get a hopeful final draft to you.
Okay.
So,
And board, if you recall, these are master service agreements, because currently we have no master service agreements with any contractors. In the event we have an emergency like we did last winter, we don't have time to go through the process of trying to contract. This takes care of that process up front, so it's just a matter of proving their proposal without having to go through the contracting phase is what that does. So it's important we get these MSAs in place for both water and sanitation.
Something we can do in case of emergency where we can.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
the next item is, legal review of insurance policy and claims versus payment. This is, the claim submitted to Cincinnati Insurance in relation to the flooding events. And, I've looked through that documentation and I've spoken with Patrick Malone, who is the adjuster, for Cincinnati Insurance. And what I see so far in the file is initially they issued in July of this year, on July 16 and July 7, 2 letters. One was a reservation of rights based upon the contract language, and the other was kind of a preliminary position statement based upon the contract language. Their initial position was that there was not gonna be coverage under the flood endorsement due to language in the endorsement about where the loss occurred and some other provisions. And then there were additional issues with the deductible. It's my understanding that Cincinnati Insurance then explored coverage under the equipment breakdown endorsement, and that they've paid authorized $181,000 and odd dollars.
$188,000.
Oh, it's now 100, okay, I haven't seen that number. Towards that, Mr. Malone, the adjuster, believes that is the most of what has been submitted. I need to talk to Todd to verify that. I've not had a chance to see what has been submitted but not paid or approved to be paid. But Mr. Malone also told me that they're in the process of preparing a partial coverage statement to address these issues and go back over and summarize what their position is on the claims. I imagine it will be somewhat similar to their initial letters, but Mr. Malone gave me the impression that he should be getting that out to us here soon. I expect it.
So Todd, did you send Dustin the spreadsheet that breaks down each area and the
Yeah, I
claim
see.
within each area?
Yeah, I seen an email that shows out what they paid for each claim that we sent, and it also shows the 2 that was denied coverage because they said it wasn't, they wouldn't cover under the policy, and what we're waiting for now is denial on those 2 location denial letters, that way we can submit it to the umbrella policy and try to get that covered, which is what Erica talked about a few months back, that AWR was gonna
And I
take
sent
care
you
of.
an email yesterday specific to that.
Yeah, and that's been, that seems to have been pending out there since maybe August. Does that sound right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've requested that denial letters, maybe starting in June,
And like I said, Patrick Malone gave me the impression it would be forthcoming shortly, but it sounds like he's been giving you all that impression for a while now. Is
For
that-
a long time,
Yeah.
too long in fact, because if you go back and check the policy, which is a contract, as you know, there's time stipulations within that policy, and they're not adhering to those time stipulations. This damage occurred in February and April, and here we are in November. Hence why you've been asked to engage, make sure they meet the conditions of the policy, but just as important, you've been asked to verify that for those items that weren't insured because they weren't identified in the policy to begin with, that suffered damage, that then falls under AWR's umbrella policy.
And I don't have whatever AWR has submitted to their umbrella policy.
Well, we can't
or-
submit nothing to the policy that they give us
Okay.
denial letters.
Yeah, but you do have a breakdown of what that is.
I do have that cost, it is in what I've seen, I wrote over already.
Okay.
It is also included in this spreadsheet that shows all the damage for the sites.
Yeah. Okay, so if you don't have that, can you please send an email to Todd, CCB, so make sure you get it, because you're gonna have to compare what the insurance sends you with that, and then you're gonna have to compare that against what AWR sends you as well, under their umbrella policy. At the end of the day, I wanna make sure that we're made whole based on the policy requirements.
Sure.
And then the offset of that, which is not your concern, but it's gonna be this board's and AWR's concern is did FEMA cover the balance? And then tonight, board will talk about, reviewing and improving a plan to take corrective action in these areas so we can spend those dollars to fix the things that are damaged. Okay,
That was last time.
all right, thank you, Dustin. Any legal questions for Dustin? No? All right, operations, Alliance Operation Report.
7A1, we didn't have this on there, but we did have a PSC inspection, our yearly PSC inspection. We had one deficiency on that, which was water loss. Last year we had 4, and I'm assuming years past we had quite a bit more than that, so that's a, pretty good thing.
And the deficiency was because we were greater than 30%. Yeah. Okay.
Just wanted to mention that we got that back, and, you got one thing left on there, and that's water loss.
Can you do me a favor, scan that in, because that comes as a report, right?
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah, I
scan it
can.
in and send it to the board members, please?
Yeah, I've got it in email form too.
Okay, good.
I can share it over.
All right.
Spoke with United Rentals about, providing emergency generators for weather events like we did last year. Water plant to distribution, October averages, 1.31 million. I've got on here currently averaging 1.25, but here in this past, since I did this report, we're seeing around 1.1, which is the lowest that I've seen since I've been here.
So on the generators, is United Rentals gonna keep those generators on standby for this district at no cost to the district?
Yes. Yeah, for when we need them, if we see a storm event coming in, well before that storm event.
Right of first refusal.
Right, so they're on standby.
Yeah,
If we turn them down, they'll call you and say, hey, do you need them? If we say no, then they'll get them out, but if we say yes, they'll bring them.
correct.
But they'll be on standby at no cost to us, is the important piece.
That's right.
Good.
Yeah, same thing we did last year with
Right.
that. Motor on Clarifier 3 mixer drive, went down. We've had, people looking into trying to, figure out different methods of getting it fixed. It's a SUV drive, SUV motor drive.
Did the motor go down or did the drive go down?
It's the motor.
It's the motor, so the drive is, when I think of drive, I think of VFD.
Well, this is a gearbox drive. It's
Okay,
a,
so it's a motor with a gearbox.
Yes,
They
it's
were
for the
replacing it with
mixer.
a VFD drive.
Huh?
The replacement for this is a VFD
Yeah.
drive. This has been done several years ago, so it's still a gearbox drive.
Right. But, well, the motor and the gearbox is two completely succinct and separate units. Why can't you just replace the motor?
Yeah, well, that's what we've been trying to do. Apparently, the manufacturer of it, they only sell it as a whole unit, and.
We'll do a crossover from that motor to another manufacturer.
And that's what we've been trying to do, is have their engineers apparently cross it over. I've had several different people come back with, you got a 6-week lead time, this is gearbox and motor all in one, we don't cross it over anymore. So right now, I've got them rebuilding the motor itself.
Okay, so they're gonna rewind the motor.
They're gonna rewind the motor. They typically don't rewind them, they set it on those smaller motors.
Okay, what is it, 25 horse, what is it?
It's like 5. Yeah.
But we did also find a motor today that was on one of those drives, that is the same size and design. So we're gonna test it tomorrow to see if we can get it back in operation.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're wanting to rule out there's no other problem besides the motor.
Yeah.
Right. just, okay, and so to rewind a 5 horsepower motor, what are you talking about?
Yeah, we're not talking about.
$1,000?
Yeah. That's the reason they were looking for, you know, if we could find a motor to actually match up and they could cross it over, it's cheaper to buy the motor than
Oh,
it is
amen,
to
that's
rewind
exactly
it.
what I've done, yeah.
But, you know, I've had several different vendors looking, and, for some reason, none of them can come back with anything more than $6,000 for the full gearbox and motor. I don't know if the company just doesn't wanna, you know, cross over individual motors. I don't know, but that's what we got right now, and that's in the works. It's not affecting, it's affecting our top filter a little bit on 3, but not anything alarming.
But you're
It's-
using a submersible to keep the blanket down in the meantime, right?
Yeah, yeah, the rake drive's still working too.
Right.
So, it's just the main mixer in the middle.
Right.
So that's an update on that. Fixed, 31 water leaks in the distribution system, estimated 3.6 million. We're currently winterizing tank sites and pump stations. We installed new battery backups in all the tank and pump station sites. Got everything back in signal, that's one of the things we've been kinda working on. We've got, the flashing safety lights on all the new district trucks now, we installed all those. We've got a motor down at 40 East, it's being rebuilt, it's mostly the bearings and the housing, and that's $3,350, that's currently being rebuilt.
How old's the motor?
I would say, I don't know, probably, I couldn't say off the top of my head exactly.
But it's been here longer than you all have. It's not a new motor?
No, it's not a new motor, no. There's a 5-week lead time on the delivery of the in-housing, 6 weeks total to get that back. 40 West VFD options, I threw these on here, I've kinda been, tracking down some different VFD options for us and startups for those VFDs. Allen Bradley's what we had in there, and for some reason, Allen Bradley, the identical VFD come in at $18,721, which is obviously, not the choice. I've got ABB, I've got 2 different options here, 60 horsepower drive, which is what came out of it. We had them give us a little bit bigger, more heavy duty, drive, to hopefully give us more longevity in that. And then you've got the WEG here. I did get startups with those 2, and on the ABBs, we got, the company that we work with all the time, US Bearing, they deal directly in ABBs, do the startups, and they offer doing a startup for $250, and that adds an extra year's warranty on the VFD as well.
Okay, so if I pulled a cut sheet on the Allen Bradley you have now, and I compared it to the cut sheet of the ABB heavy duty drive, ABB 60 horse drive, and the WEG,
Yeah.
would they be identical in features and services?
Okay.
Okay, so it's apples to apples what we're
It's
looking at.
apples to apples across the board except for the ABB. You know, the heavier duty drive is, you know, the way they talk about it is you don't have to run it at full,
Yeah, well,
capability.
I wouldn't recommend to this board to use anything but heavy duty because this pump runs continuous. I would never not do that as far as, for that purpose, but board members, my recommendation is, the board, you decide what you wanna do, but my understanding is AWR needs a decision on this, so you can move forward with something, right?
Yeah.
So, my recommendation would be to go with the ABB heavy duty drive, 75 horsepower. It's well worth the $700 difference that we're talking about here, in my opinion.
And what I was gonna say on the WEG is it's, you know, an outside company that we've worked with, the shoemaker that we dealt with over there is where I got it.
Yeah.
$3,400 on their startup, not as long a warranty, so it puts you about close to 10 grand by the time you,
Yeah,
and, you know, the US Bearing, they're close, we've dealt with them, they've been good to us, so.
I'm not a big fan of WEG. I've
Yeah,
never
I'm
had
not
good reliability with them. Allen Bradley and ABB would be two of few choices I would have, but
Yeah, ABB is more what we have in the system right now throughout the rest of the stations and the ones that our guys are more comfortable working on.
right.
So the $85.99, does that include the $250 startup?
No, that's before that, but, yeah, we're talking 250 added to
We're talking
that.
$9 grand. by the time it's said and done.
It's worth it.
Yeah, just to have the extra year warranty, they submit it to ABB, they put their stamp on it, anything happens, they do the startup and, you know, $250 for them to come out for a day and do a startup to get an extra year warranty, you don't find that?
The startup's important because they gotta program it, and then they gotta run it, interface it back to make sure the program that they put into it is effective.
Yeah.
So it's important that that happens. So can I get a motion to approve heavy duty drive, 75 horsepower, for a total expenditure allowed of $9,000?
So moved.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? All right, thank you.
7A2 is your, distribution, water to distribution graph, and like I was saying, we're actually lower now than what I've seen it over the past year. So hopefully all that, you know, drives our water loss number down even more. 7A3, you've got your, water plant operation and your water quality analysis. I did add your, Langlier saturation index numbers for the 2 samples that we got for October there.
Now, board, I want to draw your attention to that. See how it's negative 0.326 to negative 0.303? That is slightly outside the range we want to be in. We want to be between 0.3 and negative 0.3. And so, that's going to play into a future report that this board's going to see specific to the brown water incident. That report's coming. I've been working with with Prime AE, who the board approved to do that brown water evaluation. So it's forthcoming, but I just want to draw your attention to that. Now that negative value, as we, in the winter months, will go down, but as we get towards the warmer months, it'll go back up. So just pay attention to that as far as in this particular sheet, because it's a good indicator. Okay.
Okay, 7A4 is your customer service requests and work orders. 7A5 is your, main break, service line break, leak list with a total of $3,568,421. 7A6, repair expenses ending in September 25, sitting at $103,151 out of the $100,000, brings us to 103%. And, chemical expenses, $134,287 out of the $110, bringing us to 122%.
We had a bunch of deposits though from FEMA. Will those reflect on next month's report before those have been reset, or is that included here?
No, it does not. So what happened, if you all approve tonight when we go through it, there's, in each one of those projects, there's a certain amount of dollars that you have already spent. That money can go back into those accounts after you all approve it.
Right.
So we would see that in next month's
Right.
report.
Yeah.
Or I guess, yeah, you would see it.
Yeah, it'll offset quite a bit actually. Not on the chemical budget, but on the maintenance budget.
Okay, 7A7, 7A8 are your monthly transaction notes. 7B1 through 18 is your monthly MOR, no deficiencies or any hits. 7C1 is your monthly water loss report.
Yeah, hold on a second, there's one thing I do wanna point out to the board members, if you look at the MORs, and I want to draw your attention to the turbidity readings, I wanna tie that back to, you know, this board approved and we changed out the filter medias in 3, 4, 5, and 6 filters. You know, that hadn't been done since 2008, 2007, 2008.
2008, I think.
When that was done. Typically, you change out your filter medias every 3 to 5 years, depending on your water quality coming in. But with that said, our turbidity, when you look at it, has improved since we've done those services, which means we're putting in the system higher quality water from a TSS turbidity perspective than before. The water has always met the state criteria, but the water quality now is better than it was before. And I think it's important to note that we're seeing those expenditures improve what we're providing to the community.
And on top of that, you know, the board had requested, you know, a maintenance plan from S4 Water and evaluation of the filter media. Kobe finally got a response from them today. They said they would have it to us tomorrow. so we can have that information for you at the special meeting. It'll show what their recommendation for the maintenance plan on the filter moving forward will be.
Yeah. What I expect that maintenance plan to say is based on our water qualities, they're gonna say you can do it as early as 3 years from the time it was last changed, but no later than 5, is what I expect to see. But what I really wanna see and what I'm really anxious to look at is, I've asked them to give us a cost of what it would cost to repair the concrete that's been, corroded within our infrastructure specific to the water treatment plant. Because that needs to go into, as a project on the SIP list and also as a project on the WRIS system, so that we can plan for that in the future.
Okay, 7C1, monthly water loss for October, 51.78%.
That is a little bit down from last month. I think last month was 52 something.
Yeah.
And as he said earlier, you know, the 1.1, which is what we're producing now, has been the last, since he created this report, it's been the weekly average, and it's the lowest I've seen as a weekly average. And the operators have actually shut the plant down over the weekend because they had nowhere to put water.
Right.
So, I mean, it shows that number, as long as nothing changes, should go back down to where our record low was a few months ago.
Cause the tanks is what defines demand, right? Cause we supply from tanks for a large portion of our ratepayers. But yeah, I fully expect this number to continue to drop. But it also is gonna segue into, future opportunities because, you know, right now we're operating at about 50% capacity. Our plant's designed for 2.2 and we're operating at 1.1.
Okay, 7C2 is your, leak map. And 7D1 through 6 is your, leak adjustments.
And board members, for the leak adjustments, is there any questions on those? And if not, can I get a motion to approve those leak adjustments?
I make the motion to approve the leak adjustments.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. So with that, that steps us into the capital projects report. Board members, I did get the opportunity to update the capital projects schedule, and I added a column that's period of performance end date. It's important that we track that to make sure that whoever's administering those funds, if a POP extension is required, that we do that in a timely fashion. But with that, on the countywide meter change outs, Todd, we're gonna get parts in November this month. We should be getting them any time now, right?
The ones that was scheduled for this month got pushed and be delivered early February with the rest of the parts that were supposed to be finished.
Okay, so what we're missing, we got 2 meters to do, and then the commercial meters are done. Residential's already done, the commercial meters will be done at that point, right?
Yeah, and then we've already made orders for all the master meters and zone meters in the system, so all that should become early February.
And currently, right now, without that additional meters figured into it, we were running the budget by approximately $600K. And even with us doing all that, now keep in mind, board members, that the master meters is gonna help us with leak detection. And so even with that, and doing all that, we're still gonna show still an underrun on the remaining funds, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
How many of those new meters have we had replaced already?
I don't know, I could get you a count. I mean, we've had some that we've replaced, we have, I don't know the total, but we have said some that we replaced, that we sent off to replace under warranty, they're all being replaced on warranty. I mean, the biggest indicator is gonna see what happens this winter. I mean, that's where we're gonna find out whether there's an issue.
But we were replacing with meters that we had in our system previously that we were switching over to at the time, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so now we're synchronized across this,
Correct.
for everything, okay?
And I think before we started the project, we might have had 400 or so meters in the system that was already put in for these. And we had already purchased the AMI system, so.
Okay. The turkey tank rehab project, that design is complete. All we're waiting on is that construction easement. As soon as we get that easement, it'll go out for bid. It cannot go out for bid until we get that easement. But I fully expect, that we'll get that project, completed by June of 2026. The Middle Fork Otto Brown Booster Station Line Replacement Project, that's what we're working out the letter for, to recognize us as owner and give us signatory rights to the contracts. And that's happening, so, and that project is pretty close to being designed. The only thing I've got to review yet, and I'm waiting on it, is the electrical and control drawings. They haven't provided those yet. But once I get those and get through them, then that project will be ready for, I'll come back to this board and ask for the board's approval to sign the permits as applications as owner. And then once that happens, we'll be able to or Bell Engineering will be able to solicit the bids for that work. The lead service line inventory, Todd, we've got another deliverable due on that to the Commonwealth.
We just passed one deliverable that we met, and the next deliverable won't be until that time next year.
Well, weren't they talking to us about the 700 and some locations that are unknown? That the next step for us is to go out and identify what those are?
Part of their, until those are identified, you have to keep sending those letters out to the customers, letting them know that it's still an unknown. It's still unknown, and we need to know. They have not directed the districts yet to actually go dig on those properties and find out what it is.
Identify what they are, okay. But that'd be the next step. Right now, we're just reporting, but the next step is to identify.
They are, the office still reaches out and tries to make communication with the owners and see if they can get information from them. They still do that every day, most days, so, I mean, they'll knock some off that way, but at the end of the day, it's probably gonna be some that's gonna have to be done once it gets to that time frame.
Okay.
Todd, I have 3 places that I have water, and I have gotten a letter saying that they don't know about one. I have twice done all 3 because of the fact that I got a letter before saying that I hadn't done one.
Are you submitting that online?
I'm
or-
submitting it online,
Okay,
so I'll bring it to you and show it,
okay,
okay? We'll try to figure out what's going on.
right.
Okay, on the cold water line improvement project, the board will take the next step on that as far as scoring the SOQs for the engineers and take care of that at a special meeting in December. Route 40 East Water Improvement Project, that is through the final steps of permitting. I expect that to come out of permitting here anytime now. The design is done, it's ready to solicit for bid. Making good progress on that. I expect that project will happen fairly soon. The 292 telemetry project we talked about, we just gotta get them to finish the job. There's might be a day, 2 days worth of work most, and then that job's done. The raw water intake improvements, that project has been at a standstill because we're waiting on Bell Engineering, who did finish a revised electrical design to feed the pumps that now meets NEC code. It's in Big Sandy's hands to review that package. Then it goes back to Bell for solicitation, and then Big Sandy has to approve it and then contract with the firm. My gut's telling me that we won't see anything until spring. That's what my gut's telling me. No one's given me a schedule, but I just know that things don't happen very fast when dealing with those entities. Old Highway 3 water line replacement. Right now, it's on the agenda tonight. I'm gonna ask the board to approve me to sign the MOA that'll come from AML. I expect I should get that fairly soon. And then once that MOA is in place, then we'll start the process. Well, the next step will be is get an MOA with AML And then there has to be a subcontract with Prime AE, who's the engineer of record. Then there also have to be a contract with Fahi to administer the project. And then we can get on to the design phase. So that one's just, it's early in its process. The water master plan, still waiting on DLG to give us a response on our application. I have not heard anything on that. But as soon as we get that in place, we'll be ready to take the next steps of starting that master plan. The KYTC Beauty Waterline relocation, there's gonna be a scoping meeting here, is it next week, Todd, I think? Scoping meeting with Prime AE to go over that. And the scoping meeting's really to lay out, what Prime AE's proposing versus our GIS information, and also make sure that we didn't miss anything specific to meters and such. But this is a KYTC funded project, and as such, once we get through that scoping meeting, then Prime AE will go back to KYTC with the proposed plan and budget, and then KYTC will have to approve that. And then there will be an agreement between KYTC and Martin County Water District to execute that project. So that's the water projects that we've got going on right now. Quite a bit happening in the district. Now, specific to the capital improvement projects list, as the board members know, we had submitted on the water side 6 applications for the Kentucky W Waters program. KIA scored those, and the water district scored, our 6 projects were the 7th highest scored, so there was 1 higher than us, and then it was our 6. Now KIA used 3 different metrics to score, which I thought was a little unusual. But what I'm talking on is how they scored the projects last year and how they were awarded last year. And that's the weighted score. If you look at, based on MHI, the mean household income, Martin County would not get any projects. And then if you look at, based on what's critical, debt service, water line replacement, things that would help keep the district financially stable, our projects, all 6 of our water projects would be awarded. And so I had a conference call with Fahi today to talk about next steps, assuming that 6 water and 2 sanitation projects for a total of 8 were approved by KIA, and I know that letter's going from KIA. They had a special board meeting last week, and they approved the package as performed, scoring and recommendations, and that's going to the Commonwealth House the first week of December, which will be next week. And then it's going to come down to the legislators and the governor at that point. But I'm prayerful that we'll get all 6 water projects, and I'm thinking we're going to get 2 sanitation is what my gut's telling me, but we'll see. We'll see how things play out. With that, board members, I have not made any changes to the SIP list. I really want to see what happens there before we make any changes. But I do plan in the future to add some new projects to this. But I'm hopeful that we'll get some projects to slide down to the funded from there. So that's the SIP list update. Any questions on project update or SIP list update? Well,
I have a question on the W Waters program. Was that funded in the current state fiscal year budget, or do we have to wait until after July 1st of next year to access those funds?
it was, well, 2 things. It was funded, but I'm being told that when the Commonwealth Senate and House pass it, if they attach a emergency clause to it, that when the governor signs it, those funds get released immediately, and you don't have to wait till July to access those funds. And so I'm prayerful that it passes with that emergency stamp on it so that we can access it right away. As all of you know, there's a lot of dollars in there that's critical to our future successes in 2026, especially. So hopefully I answered your question.
And so, but there is a possibility of the legislature approving the scenario where none of our projects were funded, right?
When politics get involved, is a possibility of anything.
Because there were 3 proposals included in the package, and
That's right.
one of them had us with 0 projects.
0, yeah. One had aid at 28 point some million, the second one had MHI at 0 projects, and the third one was based on critical needs, and that was 8 projects at almost 30 million. So my hope and prayer is they follow the metrics they did last year.
Right, why move the goalposts?
Exactly.
Well, why?
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
you know, but, you know, let's just all be in agreement that,
We're hopeful.
that, you know, that it goes as, I'll say, you know, publicly as it should.
Right.
You know, and that's, I don't know any other way to say it. Other than that. Okay, moving on to, other old business. AWR, we talked about the master meter delivery and construction schedules. Is there anything you need to add to what we've already said?
No,
What about the raw water intake project? Anything you need to add there, Todd?
nothing new.
Okay, flood damage, infrastructure status, and Kentucky Emergency Management funding update, Todd?
Yeah, so in the packet, you see on page 9C1, again, you'll see all the projects that we submitted claims for, and it shows whether or not we've received payments from FEMA on those as well. It now has an insurance column that shows whether we received payment from the insurance on those sites that we've done. So out of all the projects that we submitted for the February flood, all of them but 2 have been obligated, which we've received the funds. And one of those, I received a document today to sign. It was for the Tug Valley raw water intake, so that will have to come for you all, or you all can choose to vote for it tonight if you would like, or come at a special call for me to sign that, adopt it, and that money would be obligated. But it was for the top Tug Valley raw water intake. The amount that they are showing they'll pay is $190,672.48. And for this site, that work was to do site work, which all the groundwork that flooded away, that we needed to go and put basket rocks,
Right.
all dirt in, and also for the floating screen that was damaged during the flood.
So we estimated the work at 200,000, and they're proposing 190,672.48.
Correct.
And is the state gonna kick in the balance?
No, that was the total, it'd be 196.70.
So that's FEMA and state, so it's both federal and state dollars. So we would have to come up with the delta,
Yes, if it takes that to do the site work.
if it takes that, okay.
And one other thing to note that's not on your thing is the category B protective measures. We do have, it does show in the system, we have submitted already $3,624.38 of money that will be reimbursed to the district that will go back into the operations account once we close out that project. We'll keep adding to that as we fix the remaining projects. So every time we go out and do work, labor, all that will be able to be charged back to that line.
So you're talking project number 959338 is open and an open account, and we're tracking and submitting costs underneath that until everything above it is closed out.
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
And also it will hit that as some of the costs that you've approved, we will approve on sanitation and already approved for the pump rentals that we've had at the IGA lift station. All that money will be able to go into that account as well.
And so, board members, can I get a motion to approve Todd to sign the Tug Valley Raw Water Intake FEMA application or response? What's that document called? It's an offer.
It's a acceptance offer.
Yeah, acceptance offer.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, so Todd, please sign that and get that on so we can get that processed and get those funds into our emergency account.
Was that the motion that we was gonna make when we hit the CHIP, the CIP, was, we had something we put off, a motion we put off and was gonna wait until.
Actually,
No, this was, that's a different one, I think.
Yeah, that was for something different, I think it was for your 292, we was talking about.
292, yeah, we need to write that down, 292s, because you gotta remind me of that.
Yeah.
Need a
So
motion.
the- Yeah, so the only other one for the February event will be the main line repairs, which was for the repairs that we completed on Maple Street, you know, during that flood. We submitted all the costs to them, our labor and everything, so that will be a pass-through back to us since that project is complete. I don't know what's holding it up. We do have a call with FEMA tomorrow on that one, and for the April flood items that is shown down below, primarily for the old Route 3. Again, we have submitted all that data to them, we're just waiting for them to develop their own price and come back with an estimate on their own.
Now, board members, remember, old Route 3, we've already paid those bills, right? So that's gonna go back into our maintenance budget where it came from.
Yeah, so we paid the contractor, it was like, I think it's
$45,000.
$45,000, and any of the labor charges and stuff that we submitted, will be able to go back into your operations account.
Yep. Okay, great.
But earlier, Kobe, you had asked the question about the amount, so anything that it shows under the actual spend amount, that is money that you'll be able to transfer back into your operations accounts.
About $180,000.
Okay, and then if you go on, like from 9C2, is the Tug Valley wastewater plant. So they approved, as you all have approved in the past for me to sign, they paid us, $29,889.64. We have spent $15,421.27. And that money will be, once you all approve this, can be transferred back into the ops accounts. And the remaining items is purchase a 5 horsepower pump, a 7 horsepower pump, an electrical control base. That money is what we need to finish the repairs to that account. And once you do that and pay back the money from FEMA from the insurance policy, it will leave that account remaining $159.02.
Okay, this is a sanitation example that he's going over, but so you can correlate it to the other sheets that's in here. But the important point to note is for the remaining funds, Todd, you have it documented from FEMA that any remaining funds can go back into an account as defined by this board to be used, whatever that account covers.
For that asset, yeah.
For that asset. Okay. Okay. All right, so Todd was just going over an example there. So, AWR update board on insurance, claims. Is there anything in addition, Todd, we need to talk about beyond the FEMA and Kentucky Emergency Management as far as insurance claims?
One quick on the water one, on the water, do we need a motion to spend those funds as directed in here, as long as we stay under the?
Yeah, that's down under, new business.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Alright. So, the insurance claims, again, like you talked about earlier with us, and they had made a payment for $188,000. We were still waiting for the denial letters for the 2 remaining projects that was not covered to submit. Once he has time to go through there and finds out whether it meets, the policy, then we'll know what our next steps will be.
Okay. All right. Okay, so you're gonna send Dustin an email to that effect of what you're waiting on and what it's holding up, more importantly. Okay. Okay. All right, next order of business, chairman provide Fahi DLG ARC and Tech Delaware applications updates. I've already done that, I think, unless the board has any questions. AWR update board on website content update, board secretary and treasurer support AWR website content update. Have we done anything,
Yeah,
since our last board meeting?
Yeah, Kobe had sent me over the items that when they had their meeting, that they pointed out, and a lot of these items have already been complete, like, the updating the business personnel and the operations personnel, we've completed that, that's been updated. We've put in a section, some general information about lights and our role as the operators, that was requested, we've done that. We have changed the coordinates as requested that was in there, and we have updated and answered some of the FAQs, Q section, and we have updated the home screen. We have still not got the CIP updated, but we're working to get that completed. And, we are also, we're waiting on response back on the question on the cloud storage, and hope to have it soon.
Perfect. And so, can AWR provide an email back to, Nina and Colby, on when they could go back in, that when this is done, so they can go back in and look at it a second time? I mean, there's a sense of them going and looking at it until this is complete, right?
Yep, we will do that.
Okay. All right, but not, great work, team. I love it when I hear progress. You know, website's key to getting information out there for our ratepayers to look at everything. AWR update board on easement agreements on file and timeline to turnover list of board attorney to address.
Well, it's on me, I mean, it's done, I just haven't emailed it to Dustin, I will make sure I do that tomorrow.
Okay. And Dustin, once you get that email from Todd, in my mind, it's fairly simplistic, and board members, the question I have is in a situation, and this has happened to us on more than one occasion, on a situation where there's no easement on file, we have to access a property to get to a line that we service, and the property owner says you can't come on our property. What recourse do we have? That's my question. And board members, that's my concern is what do you do? And I think that's gonna require some legal guidance on, you know, how we address that. And board members, you recall in the changes to the tariff, we added an easement requirement as far as getting service, right? But we haven't submitted that to PSC for approval yet, because we've got some other things going on there, and we will, but we haven't yet. But in the meantime, we still have a problem.
Have we checked with other local, districts on how that is?
The honest answer is I have not talked to other districts about that. Todd, I don't know if you've talked to them, but I'll make a note to follow up. I've got some folks that I can call, in our surrounding counties.
I know you had mentioned that after a certain amount of time, the easement is.
15 years.
15 years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
With the same account holder.
Yeah.
But if the account changes names, the property stays the same, but the account changes names, then that clock resets.
Mm.
So it's not specific to the property, it's specific to the account. But Kentucky statute says that after 15 years of service to a property for that customer, if you have an issue and you have to access it, then what you're supposed to do is there's a set of rules you gotta go by. And the rules are, simply put, you have to notify the customer during normal business hours. You have to access the property during normal business hours. You have to show them identification of who you are. And you have to explain to them why you're there and what you're doing and for how long, that type of thing. Now, even if you follow those same protocols and you do all that, they could still file trespassing charges against you. They can still do that. Now, whether it would hold up or not.
Anybody can file anything.
Anybody can file anything, that's right. But in some cases, you know, the service may not have been with the same customer for 15 years, so then what do you do? And that's my question to Dustin is, you know, what do you do? Now, there are provisions in the statute that says that if something is immediately dangerous to life, health, property, or anything of that nature, then we can access it and take corrective action. The statute does allow for that. But in a lot of our cases, that's not the situation. So anyway, that's what's driving this request. You know, I'm not trying to just trying to cover the basis so we can do our jobs. All right. Review 2026 revised draft budget and consider a motion to pass draft budget. So board members, as most of you are aware, last week, Vernon and myself had, I'll call a working session with AWR to go through the budgets, and you'll find in your board packet, there is a option A and B. And as I scroll down to find it,
9H1.
yeah, so option A, what it does, it puts in, the, for repairs and expenses, it puts in the SIP, the contract allowable, CPI, not SIP, CPI. And then option B puts in the repair expense and chemical expense that's in line with what we're gonna spend this year. And I don't wanna talk for Vernon, but Vernon, we ran the numbers and we're both of the opinion that option B economically makes the most sense for the district.
It does, because if you look at, it said, well, that's a 7.76% increase, yeah, but only 2.76% of that is an increase in what we're paying to AWR.
Correct.
Because even even though we're giving, so, I don't like that term, even though we're paying them for the repair expenses we go along, we're paying extra each month, if they don't use it, we get it back anyway.
Right.
They pay us back. So, to me, it's an increase that's a little less than consumer price index, or one that is consumer price index.
Right.
And we don't have to worry about owing $300,000 at the end of the year.
Right.
So it's not.
Yeah.
It just makes sense to me.
Right.
Option B is just.
And some other good news that came out of that meeting, and my hat off to Vernon. Vernon negotiated, AWR is going to, for better terms, suspend their interest charges moving forward till through June of 2026, and revisit it on July the 1st of 2026. And again, I'm prayerful that our debt service project will be funded through Kentucky W Waters and it'll become a moot point. So that was another positive thing that came out of that meeting, that I know there was a lot of members on this board that had concerns about that, including myself. So with that, board, is there any open for discussion on the budgets and thoughts, and before we take a motion to decide which one we're gonna select?
So the second one is changing the repair expense limit.
Yeah, we're up the repair expense by 50,000 and chemical expense by 52,500.
Which is about what we're spent this
Spending
year.
now.
Yeah, so it'll align with what we're spending this year, so we don't end up with have to write a big check come December next year.
The only difference is we don't make a balloon payment at the end of the year.
That's right. Exactly. I'd rather pay as you go
Right.
than have to pay a big check at the end of the year.
And then if we don't spend it, then
We get it back.
We get this money got back.
Plus, it's actually, in all reality, it's less of an increase of what we're paying to AWR
That's correct.
than option A.
That's right. Yeah, it's a win-win, in my opinion, from a math perspective.
And otherwise, they're the same.
Well, no, they're not the same, and the reason why is because, if you look at let me see here, 462, 145. We're actually gonna pay, so it's 2.76% increase for option B when you look at it overall. It's a 3% increase when you look at it overall for option A. So there's a 0.14% savings by going with option B. And 0.14% don't sound like a big percent delta, but when you're talking, $2.2 million is a lot of money. So,
Well, I feel like we should do it, especially since they were willing to forgive the interest for another period of
Kind of what we
6 months.
said, and this actually sounds better to me than what we had, so.
oh yeah, so this is much better than what you looked at our last regular meeting.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I will say, upper management of AWR were very cordial, very
Gracious.
accommodating,
Yes,
very gracious.
yeah, it was
They were.
I was pleasantly surprised how well that meeting went.
I would say that, from my experience, Alliance came into this county, when we were in desperate need, and I talked with Tim, who is president of, at that time. He met with us, with me and Jimmy Don, and talked with us, answered all of our questions, and I was telling him my concerns, and he said, I agree with you, John, I don't think we can do like what Public Service Commission thinks either, and so then we've had, but it's evolved into what it is. I've always thought Tim was pretty much a straight shooter,
It was.
and,
It still is.
Yeah.
Amen.
You know, so
I'll make the motion that we accept option B and approve the budget for next year.
Do I have a second? I got a second, all in favor? Aye. All right.
Who seconded that, I'm sorry?
I did.
Okay. So board, I'd like for you to, I want to propose and board consider a motion to delay further action on PSC truck lease order until next year.
I'll make that motion.
Did you talk to other people that did that, what you talked about, like, what they offered, PSC?
We pulled the case files
Yeah, okay.
and we looked at the case files. Case files laid out, who did what, when, and what was accepted by PSC. Now, we had the informal, meeting with PSC. But PSC, couldn't tell us which way they prefer us to go, because they consider that legal advice. I'm of the opinion, and it's just an opinion again, but I'm of the opinion that if I come to you and I tell you that something's wrong, I owe you, a solution to the problem. You know, so if someone comes to me and says, hey, we got a problem, and I'd say, okay, and I do this for folks that work for me, they come to me and say, hey, Tim, we got a problem, and I said, okay, what's the solution? And they're like, well, I don't have a solution. I said, well, go back and figure it out, and come back to me with a solution. It's not enough to tell somebody they have a problem, but you need to say, here's the problem and here's a solution. But PSC doesn't do that. They tell you you got a problem. They leave it to you to figure out the solution.
And they were also pretty snarky about,
Yeah.
the board.
I like your choice of words, yes, they were, and it's very, it's painfully apparent in their writings, of that. But it is what it is. Again, I'm prayerful that our debt service project gets approved and this goes away.
I'm fine with delaying it. I think I would prefer the language to say that we, delay further action on PSC truck lease order until, we know for sure about the W Waters fund.
Okay,
Yeah.
so can we,
It's gonna be really what decides,
well,
we're planning to just pay it all off, but if that doesn't happen, then we've got to really come up with a plan on how to respond.
yeah, well, I've got, my plan A is W Waters, my plan B is KW, or RWI settlement,
Right.
and my plan C is refinance.
Yeah, I just think
So
next
there's
year's
three
bad,
things.
because we're not gonna decide this on January first.
That's right, that's right. So, but can we make a note of that in the record that okay, thank you. But good recommendation.
so the
thank you.
motion was made and seconded with that.
With that amendment.
Amendment.
Vernon made the motion, I'll second that with the request that it's when we do the W Waters.
And I will vote aye.
So all in favor? Aye. Yeah. So everybody's in favor, all right.
There we go. Just that.
There you go. Okay, board members, we cannot do the motion to approve revised master service agreement because it's not finished. When it's finished, I'll get that out to you all to take a look at. But it's gotta go before the board to get approved before, we can use it as an instrument. Okay, board members, like for consider a motion for the chairman to submit the filing of the PSC motion to close order. That submittal will come through Dustin's office, but I'll have to sign, the affidavit and also, for that submittal, so. Do I have a motion to do that?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, other new business, AWR present flood repair plan that aligns with insurance, FEMA, and Kentucky Delaware Water Management allocated funds for board review and a motion to consider approval of plan. So board members, in your packet, there were Now, we're only talking water, we're not talking sanitation. There are, projects in there, and Todd, please correct me if I'm wrong, but on the water projects, what AWR is proposing for board's consideration, a motion to approve, is for AWR to move forward with transferring funds, where funds go back into the maintenance budget for which they can, and to stay on budget and buy equipment in necessary and services if necessary, to repair what's been damaged by the flood,
Correct.
the two storm events.
Yeah, I'm correct. So on the water side, there's one in your packet, it's 292 BPS. So we got $15,320. We're gonna transfer, we're asking for approval to transfer $7,427.97 back into the office account, and that is what you, for the pump and motor that you've already purchased and paid for. And the remaining balance would be to purchase another pump and motor for that and refund Cincinnati Insurance the remaining funds, which would level out your account to zero for that project.
So do I have a motion, and again, that's on page 9C-9 of the board packet.
Yeah, that was the motion we was gonna make earlier, correct?
No, 292 is the motion we're gonna make earlier, this is something different.
Okay.
So do I have a motion for the flood repairs to 292 BPS?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. AWR present board with bad debt write-offs 2025 for approval.
Yes, on your packet, 10B, you'll see the total bad debt for 25 is $43,714.45. 17 of those accounts totaling $5,489.97 are customers who are deceased, so that amount will be written off. We have another $7,433.32 of bad debt that belongs to current active customers, so that amount will be transferred to their current billing, and the remaining amount will be sent to collections in the amount of $30,781.16. That's a total of 109 accounts.
Okay, so just to clarify for my benefit, the board would be approving the write-off of $5,489.97. And I'm assuming there's payment plans already set up for the $7,433.32, because that's bad debt that's get carried over to other accounts. So that, under our tariff plan, that would be required to have a payment plan, right?
Correct.
Okay,
If they request it, yes.
if they request a payment plan. If they don't request a payment plan, then it's
It's
due,
just that belongs to their bill.
so it's due at the time of billing.
Yes.
Okay. And then the balance of those values, which is subtracted, if that's subtracted from the 43,714, we get the 30,781. That's what's getting turned over to collections.
Yes.
Okay. All right, board members, so does all that make sense to you? I followed the math. I didn't originally, I had to call Todd and actually have him step me through it, but, so with that, do I have a motion to
Most
approve?
people just don't have an account in their name anymore, that 30,000.
That's correct.
Yeah. So do I have a motion to approve bad debt write-off for 2025?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Okay. Board members, I'm asking for a motion to approve, your chairman to sign the old Highway 3 MOA from AML when I receive it. I have not received it yet. I will run it through a legal review step, before I sign it, but, I'm asking your approval to sign it. I expect it within the next week or two.
Make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, board members, on item D for a future water facility, I'd like to table that for now, and the reason why is because I'm not far enough along to talk about it intelligently. I sent out the board members a conceptual layout drawing. I don't have cost estimates, I don't have any funding avenues, there's a lot I don't have. And I think it would be prudent for me to get that stuff done and come before this board with specifics before I ask you to move forward on something. Does that make sense?
I was gonna ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, I know, and I wouldn't be able to answer a lot of them, and that's why I said, you know what? We need to table that for now, in my opinion.
Well, and maybe just to be fair, so that you don't waste a whole lot of time and energy on it, I don't have a whole lot of appetite for that, just to be transparent. I feel like it's gonna be really hard to justify to our ratepayers that we're gonna choose to spend time and energy going out to find funding to build a new facility. And if we have another brown water incident, people are just gonna say, we've spent all this money to build a new building and my water's still brown coming out of my faucet.
So the groundwater incident is being, as you know, we've got engineering evaluation going on right now. The thing that I want the board to think about is, right now, we're spending almost $2,000 a month for facilities that we don't own, we rent, number one. Number two, there are grants out there that doesn't cost the ratepayers a penny. And those grants won't pay to fix the infrastructure. They won't pay to fix pipes or water treatment plants or anything else, but they will build a building. So
There is an opportunity cost.
there's an opportunity there.
Of spending time and energy doing that, when we could be applying for other programs that do.
Well, I get
If I'm
that.
spending
The thing
60
is-
hours writing a grant to build a building, that's 60 hours I'm not spending writing a grant to fix the water problem.
Yeah, but the last time I checked, I worked for this board for free. So,
But if we're
I
gonna
don't
pay Fahey to
possibly-
write the grant, you know.
well,
And we also, we have to consider what we'd be paying in like the utilities, once that building is there. We have to consider that area that you're talking about is in a floodplain.
no, it's not. I checked, it's not in floodplain. It's
I'm
outside the
telling
flood,
you,
it's outside the
it is.
100-year floodplain, I guarantee you.
Well,
They have built the site.
Yes.
I don't know if it has been reevaluated.
It has. I would never propose something that was in a floodplain. But to all these good points, I agree, and actually I want to call with Fahey today. I said a couple things. Brown water on the water side is an important project that we gotta take a hard look at. Odor issue from the Inez wastewater treatment plant is an issue that I think we need to look at from a perspective. We'll get to that on the sanitation side, we'll talk about that more. But I understand the concern. But one of the things that we need to also be cognizant is right now, our entire county operation is a hodgepodge of operations, all different places. And some of this work, folks are working out in the open or in very poor conditions.
I see
and
the merits of it, and I appreciate, you know, what the work you have put into it. I thought the design made sense and having everything in one house, but I think just, at this time, I couldn't in good conscience vote for something like that.
Yeah, I understand.
I just want you to know that ahead of time before you spend a lot more time
Yeah.
on it.
Okay.
I'm very.
Well, I'm not gonna stop working on it, I'm just gonna get things lined up better.
Sure.
And to your bigger point is we've got bigger fish to fry right now, okay? Consider a motion to approve chairman to seek funding for brown water project based off recommendations from Prime AE once projects are listed on WRIS portal. So the board approved for Prime AE to do their study, and they're wrapping that up. And that'll get into the WRS, so I'm asking this board to approve a motion for me to go to Fahey and for them to give us a proposal to do that work. Now, when I was on the phone with Fahey today, Fahey has asked that they do a TA with us, which is a contract with the district. Right now, they don't have a TA with us, their TA is with the physical court. And what a TA does for us is we go to them with a problem, and they start going out and looking for funding avenues. Now, that TA would cost us money. I think it's like 10 hours a month is what we would pay them to find grants for us. I would like the board's approval for me to work with Fahey on bringing that TA back to this board for approval, number one. But number two, going after trying to find money, a grant for the groundwater problem. Because without an infrastructure improvement at the water treatment plant, we won't solve that problem. So do I have a motion?
Now, I'm not sure, the TA would mean that we are paying them, like not through the fiscal court, and us, but just.
Just us.
Us.
Just us.
Would we pay them so much ahead then?
So I have to get the terms of the TA. When I get the terms of the TA, I'll send it out to the board members, and then the board will take a vote on that TA. And the TA will lay out, okay, 10 hours a month, and it's to be paid under this schedule, that kind of thing.
We're not even approving any rate thing or anything at that, it's just to approve him to talk to him about
And
it.
I'm just asking the board, do I have the board's approval to move forward with Fahi to work to get a TA in front of this board, and also to work with Fahi to get grant opportunities in front of this board for approval. That's all I'm seeking right now, because right now, without the board's approval, I really can't do anything.
I'll make the motion, we do that.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, board, the next one is a motion to approve a special meeting to approve the SEQ ratings for Coldwater project, to award engineering of record for that project. Board members, I don't know what works well for you as far as scheduling is concerned for a special meeting. And you don't have to tell me tonight, I'm just looking for approval to schedule a special meeting, and if y'all wanna send me, check your calendars and send me an email what works for you.
Sometime in early December, you're saying?
Yeah, I'm thinking within the next week, no more than 2 weeks away. So start sometime the week of December, was it December the 1st or the 8th, sometime during one of those 2 weeks. Take a look at your calendars, but I'd like to get an approval for a motion to have a special meeting.
And would this replace our regular scheduled meeting on the 23rd?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question.
It really is.
I would prefer not to meet on the 23rd.
I prefer not to meet on the 23rd as well, so we can have a special meeting. The question is AWR, can you have, the packets, I mean, I'll do the agenda, but could you have the packets, mainly bills, forecasted for the second week of December? Let's assume we did the second week of December.
Don't know if the financials can be done by the 9th, if that's what the date you're looking at. I would have to check with the county, but I would highly doubt that they would be ready by the 9th.
Does what you're saying have to be before, by the night?
Well, it could be that week, it could be, the 9th is a Tuesday, is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it went Wednesday, Thursday, it could be Friday, the 12th.
Oh, you're not here that whole week?
What, the second week you're not good?
8th through the
I
12th.
can't do the 12th.
What about the 16th?
Yeah, I can do any other.
So moving it to the next
Is the
week.
16th too late to do that?
No, it's not really. The HUD money funds have got a long 5-year pop, so it's not as time sensitive.
I can do the 16th, I can't do the 12th, I can do the 16th though.
Okay.
Financials though could be ready by the 16th.
Financial be ready.
I'm gonna say yes, but I would verify that in the morning to make sure, and if something changes, let you know, but, I mean, she would have them to us by the 18th of that week anyways, so I might be able to push your time around up a little bit.
So we're saying special meeting 12/16, is that our target?
I think so.
Now, do we have to do anything special to cancel a regularly scheduled meeting?
No, what we have to have is, we have a special meeting, we can only stick to the agenda of the special meeting, but I'm not aware of any protocols or any requirements if we don't have a regular meeting.
We may just need to include language that this special meeting is replacing the regular scheduled meeting for this month only.
God.
I'll defer to Dustin on the
I
best
can
way
work
to phrase that.
Cause Norman don't wanna be here on the
I
23rd.
doubt anyone's gonna show up on the 23rd here to ask about
Let's
water.
please don't do that.
So do you need a motion in effect to?
I need a motion to schedule a special meeting. I'll say tentatively for 12/16, I need Todd to confirm the financials can be ready. So we'll say tentatively and then I'll send out an email to the board confirming. So
And
do
in
I,
that motion, this special meeting replaces the regularly scheduled meeting.
correct.
On December 23rd.
So do I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right.
I didn't know that both of them worked for me. All right.
Okay, consider a motion to convene and close executive session to discuss the raw water intake case. Board members, I don't really see a need to go into executive session. I mean, I can update the board 40,000 foot where we're at. It's, nothing, spectacular. As board members know, we just completed our interrogatories and questions, questions back to Big Sandy Ads Council. We have submitted our interrogatories and questions, and they're due back to us, I wanna say the second week of December, if I remember right, unless they ask for an extension, which they may.
Probably.
Once we get through that process, then the next step will be depositions. I don't expect those to happen until probably February, March timeline, those will happen. And so that's how we're progressing. It's a slow and arduous process, but we are progressing. So that's pretty much where that sits. Is there any questions or concerns on that?
You vote on, microphone 292?
Yes, thank you. So, board members, as I touched base earlier on for 292, Microcom had submitted change orders 1, 2, and 3. Those change orders put the project over budget by roughly $15,000. I'm asking for this board to approve the district to pay that $15,000 to complete this project. That $15,000 will come out of our maintenance budget. And I'm confident with the monies that we're putting back into that budget that we're financially sound to be able to do that.
Like that motion.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Good.
Okay, thank you, Colby, for reminding me on that. With that, guest speakers, maximum of 5 minutes. Mr. Blackburn.
I got a deal here from, she couldn't make it tonight. And, she's reported stuff, but there's a water leak on this side of the meter, wasn't her side. But, $1,000 for water and $500 for, sewer. Angela DePetrius.
What was the name?
Angela DePetrius.
So, okay, so, has this individual, you said the water leaks on her side, on our side of the meter, on our side of the meter. And have we,
I don't know specifically about that because I haven't heard about it until just now, but I mean, it will not register to the meter if it's on the other side of the meter.
okay,
Have they contacted the office, though?
Yeah. Angela come down there and
who did?
her, Angela DePetrius.
So, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, it won't show up as a meter.
Her, it was on, her house is on this, trailer's on this side.
Yeah.
And the water runs in this side.
Or
And
comes
they
in.
had to dig it up because it was leaking on this side.
Is
Okay.
that a rancher?
No, Angela, is it
That's-
Coldwater, the
that's
first,
the
third step bottom where Matt Ennis lived?
Oh, okay. I hadn't heard of these.
And so is the leak still present?
No, they fixed it.
They being AWR fixed it?
Yeah.
Okay. And so this board has the authority, what this board could do is recommend to AWR that this lady come down, do assuming she hasn't done a leak loss, request in the last 12 months, she could do that. And then the board will approve that leak loss request, and then these charges will go away.
Yeah, the thing is, she hasn't paid the bill, but, you know, this has nothing to do with what she's wanting, but they had to come and flush her washing machine out because so much mud came through her, it stopped on the valves up and the washer wouldn't drain.
So after the line was repaired, when she ran her washing machine, there was mud in the line and it plugged her washing machine, is what you're saying? And does she have a copy of that repair bill for the washing machine? Can she bring that, copy of the repair bill, to the district, to the AWR district? Can you get us a copy of that washer repair bill?
Yeah, we can look at it, I mean, I don't know much about it yet, we have to get some information on it.
She stopped by,
Usually she
I
got,
don't know information.
okay, she stopped by the office and they took her name, phone number and stuff, and said to get back in contact with her. I guess it was last week.
I'll follow up with one on it right now.
Okay, so at the end of the day, and thank you, Mr. Blackwell, for bringing this to our attention, but at the end of the day, what's important is we do the right thing.
Yeah.
And so let's get to the bottom of it, and then,
Has she checked her, anyone checked her meter to see whether or not she does have, if that did indeed fix it?
Ain't no water coming up out of the ground.
I know, but has anyone checked the meter to see whether or not, how much water she's using?
so you're saying is the meter still running even though there's not a leak when the water's turned off in the home? If the water's turned off in the home and if the meter's still running, there's still a problem.
Right.
And so, but let's get AWR out there to look at it.
Yeah, we'll check it
Well,
out.
usually the water has to go through the meter before
Get a rest.
it registers.
Yeah, but whoever read the meter or whatever, you know, cause the water leak was on the other side of the meter. Common sense is, you know.
I mean,
somebody made a
if you have,
mistake.
if you have water coming in here, you could have a leak on this side. And be leaking, and you could also have a leak on this side.
Right, that's right.
But it's water that goes through the meter.
That's right.
What comes out here off and runs out the line, it does not go through that meter.
Right. But what we need to do is let's
So
get
we
her,
need to find out whether or not she still has a leak.
Meter could be bad.
let's get her facts. Let's do some due diligence, get our facts, figure out what the facts are. And then Todd, send out to this board, once you finish the fact finding, what you found. And then, what we'll do is I'll get it on the agenda for our special.
Go read the meter again.
Usually, what our process usually is once they do the readings and it flags a high count, we go back and manually read the meter anyway, so I'm assuming that's probably happened on that one, but I don't have the information in front of me.
And we can profile these meters too, the new meters, so it'll give us a reading on every hour on the history of the meter, so we
Right.
can do that as well.
So so let her know that we'll do our due diligence, get to the bottom of it, but at the end of the day, we'll do the right thing.
Okay, yeah.
But we gotta get our facts,
Might be 2 days.
but at the end of 2 days, or however long it takes. But I think this is gonna have to come back before this board, because this board does have the authority under the tariffs to address these kinds of issues.
Correct.
I'll take better pictures of it for her tomorrow, and
Well, Todd and they'll come out and look.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, so if you got any information you need, send it to us, we'll use it when we evaluate the situation.
And I also want a copy of that repair on that washing machine too, you know, okay.
Hey, I'm going to take it easy on you tonight.
Thank you.
Again, again.
Again. All right, Madison.
Real quick, don't have much, but just a little bit. So just wanna thank, the board members who either chimed in online or came in person to the Mountain Drinking Water Project meeting, just the community meeting about the results of that work. If you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend you checking it out. It's right now, still on the Mountain Citizens Facebook page, but also, been communicating with Lisa in hopes to get, the full video on their YouTube platform as well, just so it can be a universal tool for not just us here in Martin County, but for any other, community across Kentucky. One of the biggest things that I wanted to, bring to the space is Martin County Concerned Citizens and Like and Knowledge is hosting another community meeting, just talking about where Martin County Concerned Citizens has grown when it comes to our work around Martin County's water story and the different things, and kind of like where our visions and goals as a community, as a concerned citizens group is looking forward to when it comes to supporting, you know, the water narrative that we have been fighting for quite some time. Also in a constellation of Like and Knowledge, doing a community meeting regarding our results, regarding the water pressure project that we've been doing here in Martin County for over 4 years, going on to our 5th year, and some different like action steps and lever points that not just Martin County, but Harlan County can think about when it comes to building stronger water resilience for our communities. And so, That meeting will be on December 9th, so I'm so glad that you all didn't pick December 9th when it comes to the next water board meeting, because then we would have to cancel that. But December 9th at 5:30 at the Martin County Senior Citizen Center. I really encourage you all to come and be a part of the space to learn more about what Martin County Concerned Citizens is looking forward to as they continue our work as a Concerned Citizens group with the topic of water, and also the work that Like and Knowledge has been able to do to support concerned citizens and their mission around the water story here in our community. Any questions or comments on that big thing? December the 9th, put it on your calendar if you can. I'll have snacks again, good pizza. And finally, I know that the last time we met, we were talking about the water, Martin County Water Resilience Toolkit, and I've already got some feedback from some board members. I know I didn't do my homework to send an email to you all regarding all the links, and so that's my apologies. This month of November literally flew by for me, I feel like. But I will go back, resend that email out. Our goal is to have all the chapters ready by December the 3rd. So we'll have a good draft of every section of the module of how this toolkit lays out. I know I'm still working with you guys when it comes to some of the data that I need when it comes to this one particular part of the toolkit. But I'm really excited to be able to bring this knowledge and education and awareness to the community. And I really feel like this tool could be helpful on so many different levels and topics around water. So, any questions, comments, concerns with that?
Just like the record to reflect, I did my homework.
You did your homework and I got your feedback, and I'm already I was in Winchester making changes this morning, so I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Can I ask one more question?
As long as you're all good with me?
We're good, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Say a lady couldn't pay her water bill or whatever, to cut it off, do we have to, like, give her 2 months to pay it, or can we just go ahead and shut it off? You know, if they're struggling with the bill, are there any kind of thing?
Well, under the tariffs, if someone is struggling with their bill, then they can come in and do a payment plan, and we'll work with them on a payment plan. But let's say that someone just can't pay their bill. Well, it doesn't matter if it was 50 cents a dollar or $20,
Right.
they couldn't pay it. In that situation, then, we're under our tariffs, the PSC rule requirements, Public Service Commission requires us to turn that water off. We cannot leave it on. And so that's why we really encourage folks to come in, get on a payment plan, we'll work with you. And you know, we're governed by the payment plan as well, there's rules for that. But we have to follow our tariffs, and that's what the Public Service Commission has approved for us to follow. But that does provide guidance on the payment plan and how we structure that. And those individuals could go to the billing office and work with them on a payment plan. And if the payment plan is outside of the window of what's in the tariff, then AWR has to bring that before this board, and the board has to review it and approve it. But we don't want to turn anybody's water on.
Yeah.
But by law, or by Public Service Commission rules, we have to. And it's unfortunate, but it's what we have to do. But it also, it's the right thing to do, because we shouldn't ask those who are paying their bills to pay the cost of someone who isn't. And that's why PSC has that rule, because somebody's gotta pay that bill, and it's the ratepayers who are still paying, ultimately end up paying that cost.
Are we gonna move the water company back up to Turkey Creek?
Move the water company back up.
You mean the office,
The
you mean the main
office.
office?
No.
Not that I'm aware of.
Good.
No.
They just make our water prices go up.
No, I'm not aware of any of that.
Somebody asked me that, and I told them I didn't know.
No, our office right now is at the community center.
It
And
used to
then,
be up there where the plant is.
It was inside the water plant. They had an
And there
office.
was a office.
There was that little building
A
that
little
was
building
outside.
there.
Okay, yeah,
I don't know. when
It's
that
been
was.
years ago.
years ago, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, my mom worked there for 25 years. I've run the stairs and stuff,
But if
ragged
we,
and
if we
water.
did move up, whatever we plan on going, it's not going to, I wouldn't go for a move that would affect the water rate.
Oh, no,
You know, anything that would raise this water rate, I'm against.
oh, I'm so not.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no.
So, we are talking about trying to find a place to put everything locally or
Yeah, the
in one
problem.
building, but that's just talk at the moment.
Right. Yeah, a utility is a business that should be run like a business, a nonprofit business. And in business, you try to synergize your operation, so you want to try to have everything under one roof that you can, because that reduces your cost. And if you can reduce your business cost, ultimately that goes back to the ratepayer, because then that keeps rates from going up. And so, in the grant world, there's grants for infrastructure such as piping and pumps and water treatment buildings and all those kinds of things. We as a district, we can't afford a loan, not the first one, we can't. And so that's why under Kentucky W Water's program, we submitted a debt service project, which was the first time they've allowed that, to where we get that awarded to us, that takes our debt to zero. And that's what we need, because we can't afford debt. And then the second thing is we have to, as a board, we need to be looking at what can we do to lower cost. That's how, and one of the things you do is you go out and get a grant that's specific to a building. You're not taking away from the ratepayers, you're not taking away from infrastructure, you're not taking away from any of that, and you build a facility that synergizes your operation, lowers your operating cost, so therefore, it costs the ratepayers nothing, and in fact, it saves them money because you're not passing that cost off to the ratepayer. You're passing the savings off to the ratepayer.
You know, having 2 electric bills.
Well, right now, we're paying rent on 2 places, we're paying different costs on 2 places, we've got a hodgepodge of operations around the county. And it's something that bothers me. And I'm speaking as, I remember back when I'm going back 40 years now, when I was a laborer. And I worked for an outfit that was poor. It was a poor outfit. And they didn't have the resources to give us the tools to work with, let alone, but yet they expect us to do our job.
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse than asking somebody to do a job and not give them what they need to do the job with. And it's degrading, frankly. And so I'm always looking at ways of how can we improve our quality of services to the people of Martin County, but also to improve how we deliver those services. So the people that work for us and do this job day in and day out, they want to come to work. They want to do a good job because they know that you're investing in them as well. And so that's where my mind's at. And I certainly don't want to do anything that takes away from the ratepayers, because this board's job is to provide the highest quality water at the lowest possible price. That's our job. And we're going to do that. We're going to continue to do that. And we've made strides. Board members, I can't speak for each of you, but I can say this. In the last 13, 14 months that I've been blessed to be on this board, I've seen a lot of improvements in the last 13 or 14 months. And I see a lot more happening in 2026. I'm not ready to announce anything because nothing's been awarded yet. But if we get those 8 Kentucky W water projects, that is $28 to $29 million in capital improvements to our infrastructure. That's long overdue.
That's like our infrastructure. Like I said last time I was here, I mean, we gotta put it by the river. Trying to sink money into that old hole up there, that's foolish.
If I were to design a system, and I'm an engineer and I design systems. If I were to design a system, I would put a system at the river, at the source, and I would treat it at the source. Now, would I still use our infrastructure? I would have to, because you can't replace it all.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got 230 miles of pipe, we've got 19 storage tanks. We've got over $20 million in infrastructure right now. That's its.
No, you would also have to come up with about $100 million for the plant.
No, it would be 100 million, it'd be more like 45, 50 million, but to your point, I would have to come up with a lot of money to build a plant, and there's just no way.
You got 30 million in, you know.
That 30 million is debt service on both water and sanitation, that 30 million is water projects where immediate needs. that 30 million also includes on the sanitation side, every one of our lift stations on the sanitation side I can show you pictures of, it's totally ate up by sulfur, gas. It's corroded.
You
It's
ever go
gone.
down into the tanks and clean them out when we have water leaks and it puts mud, sludge, or whatever into, like, say, the big tank over going to Warfield?
Tank services, our storage tanks, PSC has a rule that 10% of your tanks should be serviced per annum. So every 10 years, you get 100% of your tank service. That's a PSC rule. And so we have projects funded so turkey tank rehab, that's what that project is.
Yeah.
But we also, as part of our Kentucky W Waters program, we have a project for all tank rehabs, not just turkey tank, but all of them get serviced and rehab.
Yeah.
And that's one of our projects. But with that, thank you, Mr. Blackburn, for bringing this stuff to our attention. We appreciate it.
I told you, I'll take it easy on you, man.
So with that, board members, do I have a motion to adjourn the water board meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So with that, we'll move over. I'd like to call the Martin County Sanitation District Board meeting to order. Board members, you received your packet. I'd like to get a consideration to approve the meeting minutes.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Review consideration of financial reports.
Yes, so 3A1 shows your bank rec reports. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. 3A3, current assets, total cash of $384,670.48. Total current assets of $559,085.55. Net property, plant, and equipment of $7,974,286.76. Total restricted cash of $75,105.05, brings your total assets to $8,608,522.36. 3A4, current liabilities, total current liabilities of $517,498.96. Long-term debt of $1,665,349.91. Total liabilities of district equity of $8,608,522.36. So your October budget, monthly budget, so revenue for the month at $408,305. Again, that number is skewed because of the miscellaneous income number of $327,744. That was money that was from the insurance claims and FEMA and from the KIA from KIA. So if you take out that number, that means our month operating revenue for the month was $80,561, which is a little less than what was budgeted for the month. Total operating expenses for the month was $62,694, which is $7,423 less than was projected to be spent. And you got on 306, we billed 863 customers for a total of 4,578,620 gallons, and those billing charges was $80,306.97. So accounts receivable, end of the month, accounts receivable of $99,202.47, and an end of the month balance of $368,702.99, and available balance of $298,656.50. But again, that available balance, some of it's gonna be transferred into the FEMA accounts. 3A7, total cash and investments, beginning balance of $119,718.57. Then after all deposits, interest, fees, and payments, an ending balance of $459,820.53.
So can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Review consideration to approve other financials, Tom?
Three B one, so October revenue of $76,431, which is up about $5,000 from this time last year. And our year-to-date total is down a little bit, about 4,000. Our number of customers is down, 15 customers from this time last year. Three B two shows Martin County Sanitation debt, and three B three shows that total of $462,278.50, and that does not show a payment that will be paid out today of about $55,000. So the total debt is about $410,000.
We get that grant, let's go.
This goes away in its entirety. Okay, can I get a motion to approve other financials?
So moved.
Have a second?
A second.
All in favor? Review consideration to approve bills?
On page 4, you see your list of bills there. Again, thing to note, if you see like IGA lift station, that amount of money will be reimbursed to your office account, from the FEMA money. The United Rentals, that was all the credits and stuff that we talked about last month, how they've been charging some wrong amounts. We've got all that corrected now. And again, that money will be returned into the category B FEMA accounts for reimbursement.
Okay, any questions on the bills? If not, can I get a motion to approve payment of the bills?
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Justin, legal.
All right. 5A is AWR update board on tariff postings and requirements to be met.
Yeah, we was ready to post that, and then we talked with Tim, and we decided to wait until you all approve the tariff changes tonight. That way we wouldn't have to do it twice, so. That will be completed after your vote tonight.
Okay.
5B, chairman update the board on the status of draft easement agreement for DeVella Road project, new lift station.
Yes, right now, engineering, well, let me back up. Engineering provided a site plan for a proposed location of the lift station. I sent that over to the property owner. They looked at it and asked that we reevaluate it for a different location. Engineering is looking at that, alternative location, and they owe me any day now a revised site planning to see if it'll even work. And if it will work, then in principle, we'll have an agreement. But if it won't, then I'm back to the drawing board with trying to figure out where to put it. What we're trying to do is we're trying to put the lift station, which makes sense, as close to the base of or the toe of the slope where the gravity lines come in, so that we don't have to, so that reduces our cost, construction costs. Because if you put it somewhere else, then you may have to put pumps in to pump it to a lift station, which makes no sense to me. So anyway, that's the process we're going through. I'll get that siting plan here in the next few days. I'll get it over to the owner. They can look at it and come back. I'm hopeful that where the owner's proposing and when engineering looks at it, it's a fit and it'll work for everybody, and then we'll be good. We cannot go for permitting. And this design, this is the DeVella Road project we're talking about. That design is still in process, not 100% design, but I wanna get this easement in place because we can't go for permitting unless the easement's in place. So it's kinda hand in hand thing. But you can't finish design until you know where you're putting the lift station. So it's, I'm still trying to work through that, but that's where we sit right now on that particular one.
They're wanting to move it on their property, not to someone else's.
It was proposed on their property, but they want it at a different location on their property. We were gonna put it further up the hill, away from the package plant, and they want it further down where the package plant is, what they want. And so we gotta figure out if that'll even work. Okay. Go ahead.
5C, district master service agreement for subcontractor services. We discussed this in another.
Yeah,
meeting.
when Dustin, finishes that draft, I'll get it out to the board members, and I'll get that on the, hopefully, the special meeting agenda, so we can vote on the special meeting, to be able to start using that instrument.
And then 5D, legal review and findings for insurance policy versus claims and payments, and we talked about that in the prior.
Yeah, in the same light, Todd, worked with, Dustin on, getting him what he needs so that, he can make sure that, all parties, stakeholders involved are meeting the requirements of the policies, contracts. Perfect, thank you, Dustin.
Thank you.
Operations, Alliance Operation Report.
601 wastewater treatment, we installed an aerator in the contact chamber at Inez. Got a decanter actuator down at Tug Valley. We went ahead and pulled the trigger on that. It's got a 5-week lead time. It's $2,174. Repaired blower fitting at Tug Valley and rebuilt the plant drain valve, or drain check valve at Tug Valley. We've got 0 grinders out in the system right now, rebuilt 5 grinders in-house last month. We put a new axle and trailer tires on the equipment trailer, so we've got 2 working trailers now that we can haul equipment around. That's gonna help out in the winter time too for us. Updated all signs and locks on all lift stations. 6A2 is your, wastewater plant operations for both plants. Nothing specific to note there. 6A3 is your work orders and service call summary, as well as your repair expenses ending in September of 25. 31,736 out of the 55,000, 58% there, and chemical expenses ending in September of 2025, 21,454 out of the 25,000, leaving us to 86%. We did make our last final chemical purchase. I think I added it up, I think it'd be about maybe $400 over, so around the $2,500-400 range is where it should end for the year. We shouldn't have to purchase any more chemical.
One of the things, Colby, that I wanna point out to the board members, that's important, board, remember, under the KDOW INS plant, PAA disinfection study that's currently ongoing, this report, shows us that, on the E. coli, the INS plant passed all 5 tests. So the work that we're doing out there on disinfection is working. We've made changes to the system, multiple changes to the system, so that based on this board approved engineers to do an evaluation, the engineers evaluated it, made recommendations, we've implemented those. KDOW's approved a new 6-month study, and the system's working when it comes to E. coli disinfection.
Good point. 6A4 and 6A5 are your monthly transaction notes. 6B1 through 6B5 are your DMRs reflecting on your sheet from before that we went over. That's it for operations.
Yeah, and board members, under the MORs, for the INS plant, you can see, and it's been going on for years and years and years, the plant has not met its TSS, nitrogen, or VOD standards. But we've got the rehab project in play now, it's in procurement, the NAC's under contract, we've had our kickoff meeting, they've done their procurement, and right now the schedule is by, the end of June of 2026, that plant will have been rehabbed, and it will be meeting its standards for the first time. I went back in the records 5 years, and it hadn't met a standard, and so it'll be the first time. But this is critical, because we cannot get the DeBella Road project permitted without that plant meeting its discharge standards. Okay. So that covers, the reporting. All right, capital projects report. I already touched on the INS plant. On a DeBella Road project, as the board knows, the sanitation master plan, which is a sub-project within that project, it's about 50 to 60% complete based on the reviews I've done to date. They being Prime AE, owes us a 90% complete document. I expect that anytime now. And I'll go through it, review it, mark it up. But once we get what I'll call a final draft, I'll get it out to the board members to take a look at. But please keep in mind, this sanitation master plan lays the groundwork for future projects and future grants and so forth. So it's a pretty important document that and it's also dynamic that we'll have to keep up. And it does pull in our SIP list as well, because that's part of the master plan is it requires a 10-year plan on your infrastructure. And then on the Develop Road project, it's still in design phase. From that perspective, I want to say we're probably about 50–60% complete on the design phase. They owe us, they being Prime AE, owes us some additional updated drawings. And once we get close, I'll get those drawing sets out to the board members. But once we finish the drawing set, then the next step is we have to do the spec book. Will be the next step. And so, you know, we're off to the races on all that. But that project, that Develop Road project, it's going to go until December of 2026. It's a lot of work. I don't expect to go to the field until May of 26 is when I expect it to go to the field for construction. So you're looking at 7 months roughly of construction on that project. So that's where we sit on that. Any questions on the two projects that we have going right now on the sanitation side? If not, on the SIP list, as all of you know, we submitted 5 projects under the Kentucky W Waters program. Based on what's going to be submitted to the House and the Senate, or to the House first, I expect you know, debt service and that tank inspections and painting is the two that would probably get awarded, is what I'm prayerful for. I'd like to see all 5 of them get awarded, frankly, but I don't know that'll be the case, not based on the number 8 that KIA has put out. But once we know what's going to get awarded, then I can go back to the SIP list and update it and get it out to the board members based on that, because then we'll have to have a discussion around where our priorities lie at that point. That's where the SIP list is right now. So board members, the SIP list you have, that I think I sent it out around October 10th. That's the most current one currently. Any questions on the projects or SIP list? If not, we'll move on to other old business. FEMA and Kentucky Emergency Management funding status. Todd, is there anything else we need to talk about on that? I think you went over it already.
Yeah, on the sanitation side, all the projects have been obligated at the last board meeting, so there's no update on them besides the insurance language.
Okay. All right, and on the insurance claims, Todd, it's the same as on the water side. We're waiting.
We're just waiting for the 2 denial letters that we submitted to the claim to care of.
Right. Okay. Okay, I know I got this other old business. We didn't talk about it on the water side, but I got it on the sanitation side. As board members know, Vernon and Colby Kirk have been trying to talk to insurance companies about whether they'll provide us a proposal.
It's been radio silence on my end.
I can't get anybody to call me back.
Yeah, I reached out
I
to,
don't want to have a problem.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy, it's
I was
like,
like, they're not gonna believe me.
no, I mean, it's just, it's like, it's unbelievable.
They don't want your business, I
No.
You just gotta go.
Then, I mean, you just, well, can you give me, no, we don't.
You gotta go with that.
No, I ain't gonna
It's
give
the
you
only way
that.
to get things.
I sent you Tim's,
Yes, and I emailed him.
Okay.
And he sent us back, I think you probably caught on a list, for like the Tennessee Utility Association.
It's the craziest thing I've seen.
There wasn't like a direct line of contact with anyone in Cincinnati that he provided, but they were on the list.
right,
But yeah, still the same number I had called before and left a message. It was, I've not heard anything. And I also had reached out to Keiko, I haven't heard back from them either.
okay. Well, let's just keep running to ground because,
I'm not giving up.
no, don't give
It's
up.
due by the end of the year though, right?
Well-
Yes, she said there's no way.
Here's this is a great point. I think based on where we find ourselves, here it is, you know, what, the end of the third week going into the fourth week of November, right? And Todd, you got updated pricing that's reflected in the budget. Yes. For us to continue with AWR on our insurance. I think, and you have to have that answer in December, right? Or when do you have to have that answer by?
As long as we can know by the end of the year,
Yeah.
continue that policy.
So I'll get it on the special meeting agenda for both water and sanitation,
Keep trying.
for us to approve the AWR, insurance for 2026.
We don't have.
And then we'll continue to work on it, cause at some point, we're gonna need it. So, okay, so Todd, I'm gonna get it on the board's, special meeting agenda for the board to vote on that, to continue with the AWR coverage that the districts pay for.
I mean, you have to look at these 1,000-year floods coming every 15 years. These insurance companies are,
Hey, they're
I
gun
get it, I get it. I get it, we just gotta, be able to, insure our
If they
infrastructure.
could quote us an astronomical price would be the right thing to do, not just to.
not just, it's not even stuff to you, yeah.
If they don't wanna do business with us, there's other ways to say that.
Right, okay. So next step is review draft budget revisions, consider a motion to pass the draft budget.
Page down here.
That should be down under, let me scroll down.
It's, 8D1.
Yes.
Yes, and so, board members, option A increases the repair expense and chemical expense, to the levels that we expect to finish this year. And option B, keeps them at zero, no increase. And this follows the same, mythology as on the water side. It makes more sense to put the monies in there and pay as you go instead of owing at the end of the year. And so my recommendation is to go with option A, cause I never like a balloon payment at the end of the year. I like to pay as I go. But board, discussion, thoughts?
I'm still with option A.
Yeah, I don't like the balloon payment either, I mean, if we over budget, we don't pay it, and the money,
Comes back to his end.
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And from a financial perspective, sanitation is in far worse shape than water.
Oh. Amen.
It is, but that's more reason why you don't want a balloon payment at
That's
the
right.
end of the year.
That's right.
Because you want to pay as we go, because if it's out there, then we'll be back in debt.
Right, that's right. So do I have a motion to approve option A?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Get to the next order of business. So other new business, AWR present, flood repair plan that aligns with insurance, FEMA, Kentucky Emergency Management allocated funds for board review and a motion to consider approval of plan. So, Todd, do you wanna step us through that?
You wanna go through each one individually, or how you wanna do it?
Well, board, do you wanna go through them individually, or are you, my thoughts is really simple, I'm a simple-minded guy. I think if, a motion would be in order to approve, AWR to spend the money to fix the things that need to be fixed, or put the monies back for which we've already spent the money on, back in the budget for which it came out of, as long as they stay at or under budget. The board is, I'm not asking the board to approve AWR to do anything that's over budget. Is that acceptable motion?
Can I make that motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. So the next item is, consider a motion to approve odor control proposal with Prime AE.
That's your account, correct?
Yeah, so, here. And so, those that have been to the ball field and tried to set through, a ball game in the summer months, can appreciate the odor that's coming from the INS plant. You can also appreciate that it really sends the wrong message to all of our out-of-town guests. And so what I'd like to do is I'm asking this board to consider a motion to approve Prime AE to do this odor study. Now, the odor problems at the INS plant, in my opinion, come from really, when you think about it, several sources. One is the raw well, but it's not significant because it's subgrade. But there's some from the raw well. There's some from the oxidation channel, but it's because there's no oxidation really going on in that channel because the equipment that's there has failed. And I think that once the INS plant is rehabbed, I think we'll see a significant reduction in odor from the oxidation channel. There will still be some, but not as severe as it is now. The clarifiers are septic because the oxidation channel is not working. Once you get the oxidation channel working, the clarifiers will no longer be septic. So where does the next odor problem come from? It comes from the sludge drying beds. And that's gonna continue to be a problem even after you rehab the plant. So what this study does is it identifies the source, it defines an engineered corrective measure for it, it puts a cost to it, and it puts it in the WRS system so that we can go after grants to fix the problem. Now, I've been in discussions with the physics court specific to this issue, and they're willing to team up with us to help pay for this. And so I'm not asking this board to assume that we're gonna take on all $9,750, and that's what the lump sum engineer fee is for this odor study and solution document preparation and WIS portal setup cost.
Tim, what's the fiscal court willing to bear?
It's a great question. I've asked that question, and I don't have a solid answer. So when I sent this proposal out to the board members, I said, well, initially we were thinking around 50-50, but I'm also of the opinion this has to happen, this study has to happen regardless, because you can't solve a problem if you don't understand the problem. And so what I'm asking this board to approve is for me to work with the physical court to come up with a share in cost, but the physical court says, no, we're not gonna share in the cost. I'm asking this board to approve moving forward with this project where we pay the full $97.50. That's what I'm asking.
Now, will the timing of this happen after the improvements are made?
Okay, so it's yes and no is the right answer. So there's gonna be initial study to see where the problems are currently. And then as the improvements occur, there's a follow-on study to see how did it improve. Because it's all about timeline, right? So if the plant rehab is not finished by the end of June, I'm trying to push them to get it done by the end of May, trying to pull that schedule back. But let's say the end of June, what they've committed to contractually. We won't have anything in place to solve the odor problem in 2026. So now we go through another season with that same problem. And what I'm telling the engineers is whether you rehab the plant or not, from a sludge drying bed perspective, that problem remains. And when you look at the layout of the drying beds in correlation, in the wind patterns in correlation to the ball field, they're right across from each other. So I think it's a huge source of the problem. The plant rehab doesn't solve that problem. So what I'm thinking is the study's done in steps. The first step is, let's go ahead and figure out the sludge drying issue, let's get a cost of that, let's get it in WRS as like a phase 1. Let's get funding for that, a grant for that, and let's go ahead and fix that. So we've already nipped that in the butt. And then we can take a look at the raw well and the oxidation ditch after the rehab. Because after the rehab, it may not be a problem. So why spend money where you don't need it? So that's my line of thinking. But again, I can't sit here and tell you that the physical court's gonna sign up for 50-50. I can't tell you what it is, but what I can tell you is we can't do anything without the first step, and that's study, identify, and come up with a solution to the problem. Thoughts?
How soon Prime AE begin this work?
As soon as I sign this proposal. Todd, how much money do we have coming back from FEMA that's gonna go back into the coffers under our maintenance budget?
Rough numbers off my head,
Yeah.
75,000.
So we've got 75,000 roughly coming back into the maintenance budget. Maintenance budget right now is only 50% spent at $50,000, is that right? If I remember that right? Okay, so we're gonna be to the good, we're gonna go to 0%, and then we're gonna go negative 25% with that 75% infusion, and 25% of $50,000 is $12,500. So that 25% would pay for this and leave $2,250 remaining. Does that math make sense to everybody? So in essence, we've already paid for this if we pass it.
Nobody can deny it needs done. I think everybody could say, well, how do we pay for this, sanitation? They ain't got no money,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, I get
But
it,
yeah, I agree, my gosh, it needs done so bad.
but I can't go after a grant if I don't have a project in WRIS, I can't. And I just can't go in WRS and start making up numbers and putting stuff on paper.
The only other question I have just about the scope of the study, is the odor worse at like different times of the year or seasons?
Yes, different times of the year, and also different barometric pressures, and also different wind patterns. There's a number of things that plays into it, so when they do the study, they're gonna do it, at different times of day, and also they'll do one here in the near future, and then they'll come back in the spring and do another one, and then in the summer, they'll do a final one. There's
Because
three.
the summer the worst.
Yes.
Right, and that's when they're planning.
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty comprehensive, so I'm good with it, I'll make the motion, we do it.
Do I have a second?
I'll say.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What do they do with the dry stuff? You said it.
It goes landfill.
Landfill?
Yeah.
We got the incinerator up on Middle Fort. Back on that mountain, I know.
Yeah, I don't even wanna go down that rabbit hole, considering. Okay, consider a motion to approve chairman to seek funding for, no, that's off the table, scratch it. AWR present board with bad debt write-offs 2025 for approval.
Yeah, so in the packet, you can see the bad debt. Total bad debt for 2025 is $7,555.61. 5 of the accounts, which a total of $518.38. Our customers who are deceased and will be written off. $742.72 of the bad debt are customers with an active account, so that amount will be transferred over. And the remaining $6,294.51, which makes up a total of 24 accounts will be sent to collections.
So do I have a motion to approve the bad debt write-off for
So
2020?
moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, consider a motion to approve Martin County sanitation tariff changes specifically for business-only fees without public restroom. Board members, if you recall, I wanna say it's been 3 months now, a business came before this board and laid out, you know, hey, we consume water in the products we produce, and that water gets sold, it doesn't go to sanitation. So you should take that in consideration when you formulate, our bills. And frankly, I think that's a fair request. You should never ask somebody to pay for something for a service they're not getting, that's crazy. So I called around to, different districts and asked them what they did. To my surprise, there are districts that offer percentage discounts, but there's no math behind their percentage, which shocked me. And the reason why it shocked me is because, for those of us that are engineers, you will know when you go, well, depends on what kind of engineer you are, but when you go through school, they actually teach you how to calculate loadings from people on whether it be water plants or wastewater plants. And so I basically wrote some language around that, and for the benefit of everyone, I want to read it, and then we'll open the floor up for discussion. But let me read it first, and then I'll address any questions, concerns, what have you. And so under the Martin County Sanitation District Sanitation Rules and Regulations for Service, which is our tariffs, Appendix A, I'm proposing to add subsection D, which basically states businesses only fees without public restrooms, and that's key. If you have public restroom, you don't qualify. For those businesses that do not have public restrooms and utilize water as part of their production of products sold, such as drinks, food, etc., the district will discount the metered water in the following manner. Now keep in mind, the metered water is what establishes what the sanitation bill is. First step is survey the business and identify number of employees working in the business and the hours of operation of the business. Business will be assessed 17 gallons per day for each employee to determine water usage that enters the sanitation system. That's per employee, that's washing hands, using restrooms, that kind of thing. 17 gallons per day. And I didn't pull that number out of the sky. Engineering 101 says between 15 and 20. I took 17, the middle of the road number. Survey the business and identify sinks and other water consumers that discharge to the septic system and assign water demand values for those devices based on business practices and device capacity. So that's a second step that would have to be evaluated. The district will calculate the estimated water discharged to the sanitation system and compare the calculation to the total water metered. The difference will be defined as a percentage of the total water metered, which will then be utilized as a multiplier of the total water metered to calculate the bill. For example, if the business qualifies for the evaluation and the district determines based on the district calculation, the business discharges 50% of the water metered, the business multiplier for sanitation service would be 50% of the total metered water times the monthly rate. At no time will the computed bill be less than the minimum bill as defined by the monthly rate minimum value. The reason why minimum value is so important, minimum values are established because it takes a minimum value to be paid each month by the ratepayers for the district to remain viable. If you lower the minimum value on ratepayers, then basically we go bankrupt, in essence. We can't afford to operate. So let's open the floor up for discussions on that. Board, any concerns, questions on that language?
So if they have, a dishwasher that we will know how much the dishwasher, I mean, you know.
Yeah, so what I would do is I would go into the business, I'd say, okay, how many employees you have? They tell me. I say, what's your hours of operation? They tell me. I'll say, how many employees do you have? You know, are you 3 people for 10 hours a day? Okay, well, that's 3 times 17, 51, that's 51 gallons a day times number of days in the billing cycle, that drives that value. If they have a dishwasher and they say, okay, well, here's a dishwasher, I look at it and say, okay, that's make and model this, it consumes this much per cycle. How many cycles do you do a day? They tell me. And that tells me that value. If they have a sink, okay, how many times do you use that sink? I look at the sink, I know the capacity of the sink, so there's that value. And then I just do a daily sum, and then however many days in that billing cycle, that equals the total value of gallons consumed that month that went to sanitation. Then you compare that to the meter, how much came in, and that gives you a percentage. So if they had the calculation for water consumed based on number of employees and devices, let's say it's 1,000 gallons in a month, and let's say they had 2,000 gallons come into their business. Well, there's 50%. So they're gonna pay 50% of the bill, but not less than the minimum
I would say
bill
2,000
value.
is the minimum,
That's right.
yeah.
It is. So let's say you're getting a minimum bill each month. Well, I'm not gonna come and assess your business because I can't go less than the minimum bill. And some people say, well, that's not right. Well, the same argument could be made for people that get the minimum bill and don't consume it elsewhere. So anyway, when I looked at crafting this language, I tried to think of how can you mathematically come up with an answer, and how can you be fair to everybody?
There's gonna be Alliance that's doing this calculation. Is this calculation, do you understand how this would work? Are you all understand? I mean,
Yeah, I understand it.
Yeah,
I understand,
okay.
who's gonna go do the survey?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
I would wanna do it.
Oh, you would do it.
I would wanna do it. Here's why, is because, or I would train somebody how to do it. I like the latter, train somebody how to do it. If AWR has a person I could train to do it, it's fairly simplistic. It's not rocket science. It's pretty simple, on how to do it. But, to be frank, I think there's probably only 2 or 3 businesses in our district that even qualifies. So I would take a Saturday and go visit them and knock it out, you know, no worries there. But I would like to train somebody to do it because it's a really simple formula.
And
But
is
you're
there,
asking-
I'm sorry, is there a cost to the business for the survey to be done?
No, I work for free.
Well, let's say 30 years down the road.
Right,
for
right.
the business.
No, just like there's not a cost if we pump someone's, septic tank out that's hooked up to the district, you know, there's no cost for that, no.
But they're just telling you how much they use the dishwasher or the whatever.
Yeah.
Is there a way to determine?
You can get specs off, Google it.
Well, yeah, for each cycle, but we're relying on the honor system when they say, well, you only cycle the dishwasher once a day.
You know, if they tell you they got 100 employees, that's probably not true.
Yeah.
So, anyway, this is an attempt to do the right thing. I think there's a good argument that, hey, just because we meter this much water coming in and we sell products where the water's going out as in sales, why are we paying the same amount of water going into sanitation when it's not? That's a good argument, that's a good point. Now, does this provide the answer that the businesses are looking for? Probably not, in my opinion, because they're gonna say, well, I'm gonna be paying a minimum bill every month then. I can't do
The
it.
same thing I had to,
Sorry about that.
No, say what?
no, we were just talking about old men.
Oh.
Can't,
Take
if you
up
sit
a
still
little
too long,
space.
you freeze, so you gotta move it a little bit.
Oh, yeah. So, thoughts, I mean, is there something in the language that you want, does anybody wanna change, or do you know, where do you wanna go with this?
Same as mine, when
That sounds good to me.
that's kinda answers the question that they come for us to do, so.
Yeah.
But not everybody was gonna be, you know, it's probably not gonna be what they want.
And just so you know, the other districts asked me to give this language back to them, because they wanna know how to calculate.
Because a lot of the it's not,
That's
it's
business
used
all
for
over
cleaning
Kentucky, gonna be
pots,
hating on you.
humongous pots that they use and things too. So I guess that will all be
Well,
taken into consideration.
You know, that's the other service survey. Yeah, no,
How many businesses you got?
I think it's logical, it makes sense, you know, maybe it's not specific in spelling out exactly who is the one to go and do that, so.
Well, I wanna leave that open. Initially, it'll be me, because I think it's such few customers that even qualify for this, but to the bigger point that you're making, which is a great point, I'd wanna train somebody from AWR on how to do this. I don't think it'd take very long to teach them. But at the end of the day, it's a math calculation at the end of the day. And then, Todd, you would need to look at your billing software to where you could put a discount percentage into that billing software to where it shows that and calculates it based off of the assessment. Cause you would need to evaluate that to make sure that you can do that.
Okay.
I'm not close enough to your software to know, but I would assume it can. Most software, you can put discount percentages in.
I'm using code, so it's a pretty functional software, so I'm assuming if there's a way that if any other program could do it, you could probably do it.
But take a look at that and come back to us in our special meeting in December. You guys take a look at that and let us know if the billing, if there's any issues with it. I wouldn't want there to be a billing issue.
I move that we accept the changes to the tariff as presented.
Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And before you close in the executive session, you need a motion to, or not go in the executive session, you need a motion to change your sanitation meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
For the special
thank you.
Hey there, brother.
Yes, thank you. So do I have a motion to change the regular meeting to a special meeting to be the same day, tentatively set now for December the 16th, at 6 p.m. Do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Yes, I second that.
All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you, Todd, for reminding of that. Board members are in need to consider a motion to convene into closed executive session for sanitation.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
That's pretty positive, right?
Guest speakers for, sanitation?
Same thing I said with water, December 9th, come out, senior citizens.
Well, before we, a motion to adjourn, I'd like to turn the floor over to Todd for a few minutes.
Well, so unfortunately, this will be my last meeting. I have decided to accept another position that is better for me and my family. I'm very proud of the work that we've accomplished over the last 2 years that I've been here. I see a straightforward direction with this board and where you're all gonna take it, and, I look forward to looking back in a few months and seeing where you're at.
So,
I just wanna say, Todd, that, when, Tony Sneed, when he got you, he said you were the one he wanted first for this place. And didn't work out, but I can see why, and we have really appreciated
amen.
Tony.
Yeah, I hate to see you go.
Yeah.
I hate to see you go.
Appreciate it.
We don't really, can I get a motion that we don't approve that?
I second that, also.
Yeah, I just wanna say, for not just this board, but for the general public at large, since I've been on the board, the successes that I've seen come, whether it be water or sanitation, is attributed to Todd's efforts and Todd's team. This board can sit up here and govern and do the things that's necessary and try to do the right thing each time, but if you don't have quality people to carry out your services, it's all for naught. And I just want the general public to know that Todd's made tremendous sacrifice for the benefit, him and his family both, for the benefit of Martin County, and Todd, Martin County greatly appreciates.
Appreciate it.
You stamp that in there?
No.
So with that,
Kobe, you ain't, how's your guy?
You just hang in there, buddy.
Hang in there.
Finally bring desserts next
What is
month.
the process like though, like the
So, great question. I've, at some point, probably after the holiday, not now, and because Mr. Garrett's off for the Thanksgiving week, but when he returns, I'll reach out to him and talk to him about, what does that mean? What's, the transition look like? And so forth. And so, that conversation needs to happen. But for now, you know, we'll just keep things going as they're going.
Yeah, well, I talked to them today and gave, I noticed they, you know, of course, said that they would assess everything and get in touch. You know, once they have everything they needed to do and have that conversation, so. I
When's your
expect-
last day?
It's still a work in progress, but I'm thinking it's gonna be 2 Fridays from now.
2 Fridays.
Yeah, so December 12th, right?
Yeah.
It's getting out of that special meeting.
Yep.
Let's move that special meeting.
See, that's what I was trying to have it for you before.
Can't do it, I'm too busy.
All right, so with that said, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Do I have a second? All in favor?